What your heart beating for? You scared? What your heart beating for? These niggas scared.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
These bitch niggas scared.
Boys and girls.
This little beat Jizzle, homeboy.
College Park music.
College Park, Chopper City.
And I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and motherfucking tired. All these pussy ass niggas.
I see their heart beating. I know what's happening with them. We gonna do it like this, year. Come on. What your heart beating for? You scared? What your heart beating for?
In the club, showing love. In the trap, ride 22 stubs. In the street, with the beef. With they bitch still talking about me. In the back, in the leg. In the hood, still getting their ass jacked. Getting two-way, in the hood-way. Talking bad, but it's still all good.
Man, I run with the gangsters, kick it with the G's, hustle with the hustlers, I'm the heart of the streets, grind with the ballers, ball with the grinders, keep it real with my cliques so my whole team shiners, ride with the riders, swim with the sharks, if I get caught I got nothing to say to the law, I'm built to last, ever since them niggas killed my dad, cracking a pen and pad is all I had, it's get it how you live with me, busters don't know how to deal with me, it's all real with me, all the street niggas feeling me, all the hot girls love me, they say boy put that drill in me, I come through limo 10 on the truck, got a whole block spool when I ride slow, pulling it up, got straight, Seagram's gin in my cup, I ain't gon' do you nothing scary ass nigga, what your heart beating for? What your heart beating for? You scared? What your heart beating for?
In the club, showing love. In the trap, ride 22 stubs. In the street, with the beef. With they bitch still talking about me. In the back, in the leg. In the hood, still getting their ass jacked. Getting two-way, in the hood-way. Talking bad, but it's still all good.
I'm in the club, post up, way in the back. Got a bottle of gin and I snuck in with the Mac. I'm a fresh bows on, Reeds on my feet. Hoes love when I'm thugging in my fresh white tee. I'm about whatever, Jizzle was a G. We could do it however, it don't matter to me. We could do it right here, we could take it outside. I'm young, but believe I've been about mine. I ride when it's time to ride. I grind when it's time to grind. Sling iron when it's time to bust. Sling dick when it's time to fuck. I'm a Chopper City nigga, don't try your luck. You won't be, I ain't scared nigga, I'm everywhere. You don't be where you say you be, you're never there. You acting like you bout it, bitch nigga, you scared. I see your heart beating, so bust the break. What your heart beating for? You scared? What your heart beating for?
In the club, showing love. In the trap, ride 22 stubs. In the street, with the beef. With they bitch still talking about me. In the back, in the leg. In the hood, still getting their ass jacked. Getting two-way, in the hood-way. Talking bad, but it's still all niggas caught in the zone. You better watch it when I'm cocking my crown. Cause I'm clumsy, I slip one and get down. You better leave me alone. I ain't no bitch that don't talk shit on the phone. I got something that just might follow you home. Now ain't I dead ass wrong? How could you react if your brains are blown? I guess that fat bitch is singing her song. That bitch is singing her song. You bustin' wide, little boys ain't grown. Your mouth is heavy, but your back ain't strong. Once again, it's on. You must be smoking on that cheech and chong. Think you can handle me with something that's wrong. Something that's wrong. Let's write it in blood or carve in the stone. Otherwise, you don't want no problems with home. You can't get rid of me, not even penitentiary. A friend of me, you need to be. I'm hotter than humidity. Without a mask, jack a nigga for his cash. Hot lead, make a motherfucker heart beat fast.
What your heart beating for? You scared? What your heart beating for?
We Japanese still. You getting cooked in front of your family like a Japanese meal. It's y'all shoot the hibachi and none of you niggas can stop me. But can't help but watch me. So look, bro. We was talking to some niggas. These niggas was talking about some nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? Now let me get into you know scholarship mode. They were talking about ancient Egypt, and you know there's an obsession with African Americans. Certain African Americans want to appropriate Egyptian culture, the Egyptian people, and want to make them sub-Saharan African. The issue is all the up-to-date scholarship does not agree with anything these morons say. So I offered these guys to come on the channel, and of course, like most of these scary motherfuckers, they don't come on the channel. They want to have Facebook chat wars because they're Facebook chat whores. This is how it works. They go on here and say whatever the hell they want to say in Facebook and make up a bunch of bullshit in Facebook. They don't want to come on here and read from the actual sources and disseminate the information from the sources. These people want to play make believe. Some of these people will say some of the weirdest things. If I sat here and went through everything that they said, your jaw would drop. These people believe that ancient Egyptian is the parent language of Bantu. They believe in a bunch of fairy tale, non-conventional things that modern day science just does not support. Like the idea that ancient Egypt was inundated with sub-Saharan people. Or like the idea that ancient Egypt, pre-dynastic, the dynastic Egypt, or the Naqada period, or the Badarian culture is what we was talking about today. They believe that these were all sub-Saharan Africans. You know what I'm saying? These people are living in a plastic world, man. They're Barbie girls living in a Barbie world. You know what I'm saying? It's so plastic. It's fantastic. So yeah, these guys are fake, man. These dudes scary. They don't want no funk. They don't want no smoke. They want to talk shit, man. Throw rocks and hide your hand. So, you know, these people easy to get started to. All you gotta do is tell them the truth. Hey, ancient Egyptians were Eurasians. Hey, ancient Egyptians were related to Arabs. So when you say that, no, they're African. Meta AI, please tell these motherfuckers they're African. Then you see you get spammed all day. I didn't went and did a whole day's worth of work. You know, I didn't change the condenser fan motor. I didn't fix 2 or 3 fucking heaters. You know, I didn't replace heating elements. I done did every damn thing, man. Went and picked up parts, picked up a coupler for a damn water pump. Come back and install the water pump. You look at the chat, these niggas still Meta AI and query and shit. Meta AI, please breathe life into my false narrative. Please breathe life into my make-believe narrative. This thing about trying to pretend that ancient Egypt of sub-Saharans is slowly dying. And the reason why it's dying is because all the information is being updated. And it's being updated based off of the latest findings. So we're going to go back and read the latest findings again tonight because we already know none of these scary ass niggas is going to jump on this channel. When you see me, I'm over there on what's the brother's channel? I was on Unc's channel. I was on JJ's channel. And I was on recently Super Wavy's channel. We've been on Super Wavy. Shout out to Super Wavy's channel. We've been on his channel fucking niggas up. Last night I was fucking up the fake Puerto Rican Israelites. The fake Latino Israelites, man. Was beating them so bad they turned racist. They ran out of stuff to say, so they just started saying, "You're a walking snicker." Beating them so bad, man. With information. Those people easily defeated because at the end of the day, all you got to do is show them their ancestry. That's the same thing I do with ancient Egypt. Show the ancestry. With Latinos, you show them their ancestry. Majority of their ancestry goes back to Western Europe, the Iberian Peninsula in particular. Most of your ancestry, if you're Latino, you're going to go back to that region. You're not going to go back to the ancient Levant. You're not going to go back to the ancient Israelites. Most of your DNA is going to go back there. So it's easy peasy. Easy stuff, man. They were saying white man's Esau. The white man's Esau. I'm like, no, European people do not come from any fictive person named Esau or Edom. So I was just beating them up. It wasn't even close. It was just smacking them. Oh, Africa's a hammer. I beat that shit to the ground. Everything they were saying was just getting destroyed. So this is the same thing that happens with these people, man. That's why, they want to have a serious conversation. I have to bring their ass here. I don't take none of you niggas. You niggas is clowns. Most of the shit y'all believe in is Walt Disney and Cartoon Network shit. Walt Disney and Cartoon Network shit. Hota G. I bet this is a Latino, probably, most likely. I'm willing to bet. He says, "What's Puerto Rican ancestry?" Puerto Rican ancestry, in a nutshell, the average Puerto Rican ancestry is majority European. You got a little bit of African, a little bit of indigenous ancestry. On average, they claim Taino Indian. They claim Taino Indian, yeah, on their mother side, because like most Spanish-speaking countries, majority of the male ancestry goes back to Europe, and then majority of the female ancestry actually does go back to indigenous Americans because of the history. The conquistadors came over. I'm a Black American. Okay, yeah, I thought you was Jose or something. Never mind. You had conquistadors come over. You had a lot of European introgression coming over, and a lot of the males were dying, in war, disease, being forced to be enslaved and work to death, diving for pearls and stuff like that. We all understand that. Most of us have read Bartolomé de las Casas' account of all these things. Whether some may have been exaggerated, but we know a lot of tumultuous stuff happened to the indigenous population, which reduced a lot of the males, a lot of the females. Females always have intrinsic value, so you don't get rid of the females. The females can carry your line, you can marry them, so on and so forth. That's what the conquistadors did. They did that, kept repeating that process over and over again to the modern day. You have your what we call mestizo population or Hispanic population, which is overwhelmingly European. Now, when we get to the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, the people that started the pre-dynastic kingdom, Naqada period, are obviously Eurasian. And that's what all the DNA is showing. Yeah, they do. They deny their Spanish ancestry, just like people deny ancient Egyptian ancestry as being Eurasian in origin. And the reason why they do that, because they have these long-held beliefs about who they are. And you can't let these things go because you put your doctrine first. You act as if your doctrine is a fulcrum, right? The balancing point of everything. And that should not be. Your doctrine should bend towards the evidence, not the other way around. Y'all want the evidence to bend around your doctrine. You should be able to say and be grown up enough to say and drop your doctrine if it's false. And these people won't do it. The reason why they won't do it, long-held beliefs taught by pseudos like Ivan Van Sertima, Rudolph Windsor, Dr. Ben. I mean, we can name all of the pseudos here tonight, all of the afrocentrics, Dr. James Smalls, Dr. Reggie. Like he's trying to keep the lie going. Like all this stuff has not been substantiated by any finding. And we read the latest finding on ancient Egypt, which I'm gonna pull up here shortly. And Avery, feel free if you want to chime in at any moment. But we were at the latest finding, Morez 2023. If I can see if I still got it open here. Yep, I got it here. Left it open. And within this finding, it discussed the Old Kingdom Egyptian sample, which right now is the oldest officially released sample. They have more pre-dynastic samples coming, and all of it looks Eurasian. None of it looks sub-Saharan African. None of it. The Upper Egyptian sample is majority Eurasian, and these guys don't want to. They want to run from this. They think they can AI their way out of the reality. They think that's AI. The guy tried to show me Bardarian culture, and I was like, where does Bardarian culture come from? He could not tell me nothing. He didn't tell me anything. And he's not going to come over here and defend the shit. That's the crazy part. These niggas is scary. Scary berry niggas. Anyway, so as you can see, let me pull this up again, Morez. And we'll read it again and bring the information again to the audience, since these scary berry niggas will never show up. These niggas they really hoes for real, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Niggas hoes when it comes to information. You niggas are hoes. Let me drop this real quick. Banners. Drop that down. All right, boom. You can see me now. So let's go back over the Morez paper real quick. And then I'll read the preview of what's about to come out. It's already been finished. We're just waiting for either the preprint or the official release of the DNA paper. that's going to have 7 complete Eurasian or Egyptian genomes. You already know it's going to be heavily Eurasian. These niggas going to cry and deny. That's what most of these dudes do. Cry and deny. I read this already. I know they saw it. They cry and deny. That's the goal now. Don't even fucking acknowledge the evidence at all. Don't acknowledge it at all. Just ignore it and just continue to push your bullshit. So as you can see here, this is Moraz 2023, the new paper that came out in the beginning of the year. The oldest official Egyptian DNA, as you can see, it has affinities to what? Epipaleolithic Levantine populations. It's not sub-Saharan. No, it does not come from the foothills of the moon, like Sarah Suda said he used to say, trying to read the literature and say, it comes from the south. No, it doesn't. None of this, no paper is saying, none of this DNA is pointing towards that. That's why they don't want to jump their ass up here. They don't want to do the shit. Let's be honest. I don't want to have this conversation. Why? Because all we can simply going to do is read. We don't meta AI nothing up here. We don't fucking AI answers. We just take you to the well. Now, 2 things can happen at the well. And what I usually do is why I beat all my opponents. Everybody I debated, I beat. Everybody from Ron Dalton, James Cassell, and everybody in between. Everybody I went against, all the judges said I won. I beat their ass. I beat Jose Vega on Clubhouse. That's unrecorded, though. When they recorded that one. But he got destroyed, and it was about his ancestry. It was about Latino ancestry, not being Israelite ancestry. And I used all the genetic and up-to-date data. The same thing with this ancient Egyptian shit. These ancient Egyptians are not sub-Saharan Africans. They're just not. They're not sub-Saharan Africans. So, again, what does it mean, affinities? These people are related to Epipaleolithic Levantine population. If anybody's watching, who are the Levantine? Who are these Epipaleolithic Levantine populations that they are related to? The Old Kingdom period in Egypt, circa 2675 to 2130 BCE, is characterized by the first colossal pyramid construction, such as at Giza. Until now, no ancient genomes from this region in this period had been sequenced. The genome of the individual from Nurat, Middle Egypt, the oldest retrieved human DNA from Egypt to date. This is the oldest we got. You motherfuckers don't have this. You don't have anything to compete with this. Nothing. Has now shed some light on the biological affinities of individuals contemporary to the first pyramid construction. The pyramid builders. This individual was a male buried in a rock-cut tomb inside a pottery vessel, a common practice in the early dynastic period and at the Royal Old Kingdom cemeteries of Giza. PCA admixture outgroup F statistic and QP-Atom, to some extent, confirmed that Nurat 001 derived the majority of his ancestry from the ancestry present in the Natufians from the Levant and Epipaleolithic group associated with the first agriculture practices. And this all makes sense because these people would have been heavily Eurasians. Natufians are heavily Eurasian. Avery, are you there? If you're there, can you just break down what a Natufian's ancestry is, if you can hear me, brother? Because if you know the DNA, majority of it is non-African. It says he perhaps has a low level of ancestry from a source related to one of the 3 remaining ancestry components present in West Asia and North Africa, i.e. Anatolia Epipaleolithic. This Egyptian, which reflects on the population level, the pyramid builders, has Anatolian DNA, Caucasus Paleolithic or Iranian Mesolithic DNA. Nothing about this person screams sub-Saharan African. Nothing. This shit don't even scream Dinka. It don't even, like, the population that would be close to them, of course, would be Lower Sudan, right? It doesn't even show Dinka-related DNA at all. This is why you niggas don't want to come on here. This is why I don't take y'all serious. This is why y'all get played with. Because it's like, what's the point of even having a serious conversation? You have heard me read this 1,000 times. Y'all don't give a fuck about the information. You're dilettantes. All you guys are dilettantes. What in the Grand Natufi Electro Boogie Shaka Atmos remix is going on in here? Well, we were supposed to have some niggas show up. They claim to understand the information, but obviously they don't. It always comes to me taking my belt off and whooping these badass kids. Why I always got to whoop these badass kids, man? Y'all need to start raising your own goddamn kids. No, Ivan Van Sertima was wrong. Africans didn't sail to the Americas. No. All those motherfuckers. What's his name? George Jackson, George James, what the hell his name is? The stolen legacy. He was wrong. All those motherfuckers you look up to was pseudo. All of them. This individual was reflecting on the population at the time, because that's what nuclear DNA shows you. Population DNA. That's what it shows you. What the DNA would have looked like during that period. It's largely Levantine, largely Levantine with layers of Anatolian, Caucasus, or Iranian Mesolithic. Maybe they think Iran and the Caucasus and Anatolia is in Africa. Maybe they think it's in sub-Saharan Africa. Maybe they think it's by Botswana somewhere. Maybe that's the problem. Mr. Black Tax, is that the problem? Maybe we haven't took out the time to teach these grown adults geography. So let's show where's the Levant. That's just, it's silly I gotta do it, but I have to do it, man. We got grown ass men that don't know where the Levant is. There's the Levant. What does that say? Levant, region in Asia. That's the Levant right there. Again, that's not Africa. Let's blow that up. This is not Africa. This is not sub-Saharan. It's definitely not. Everything below the Sahara right here is sub-Saharan Africa. You understand? The Egyptians don't have DNA from these regions at all. The ancient Egyptians do not have it. What they have is DNA that's relating them to people in Iran, Turkey, which is Anatolia. This whole Caucasus region, this ancient individual has layers, stratum of DNA coming from people that lived in this region. Now you get a sub-Saharan African out of that. Go make me a sub-Saharan African out of that. You tell me how that's a fucking sub-Saharan African. You tell me how that's a damn Dinka or how that's a damn a Ghanaian or Nigerian. They're not gonna be able to fucking do it. Now they welcome to come on the show. They got the link. But guess what? Guess what? When it comes to information, these niggas turn pussy. You ain't got no goddamn information. When all you can do is AI shit, you lazy fuck. You're a lazy fuck. That's your problem. You don't want to sit down and read and analyze nothing and gain understanding. What you want to do is probe the internet and hopefully make AI spit out some jumbo mumbo shit to try to just say, oh, let's see, AI said it. Yeah, after you railroaded it. Go read a fucking book. How about that? Read a goddamn book. Read the source. Read the information. You're not going to read the information because you don't like what it says. You don't. None of you motherfuckers like what it says. Why? Because it does not comport with any of the bullshit you've been taught. It's not going to comport with Ivan Van Sertima. It's not going to comport with Dr. fucking Reginald. They're invaders. Motherfucker, they there during the old kingdom. They there during the pre-dynastic period. And they're there during the Barbarian, you fucking idiots. 5500 BC is what the date that the new paper gives. This will be an easy debate. Easily. But you can't never get to the debate because you got to go through all the charades and all the bullshit. You can't sit on my channel for 2 seconds and have a goddamn preliminary or just talk about it. You got to try to control every fucking thing because you know you have no fucking chance. There's nothing you can do about this. There's nothing. This is up-to-date fucking science. What are you going to do? Go argue and yell at these motherfuckers? You going to go find Morez? Morez, take that paper down. Do not publish that sample. It's hurting my feelings. Fuck your feelings, nigga. I'm paraplegic. I don't feel shit. You niggas emotional about some shit that don't even belong to y'all, man. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. Emotional about Egypt. Want Egypt to be black. Now, please let Egypt be black African, sub-Saharan African. Right. Mr. Black Task said they judge the artifacts solely on the features they presume were distinctively black. They think only black folks have kinky hair and thick lips. Exactly. So watch this. Natufian genome. The Natufian. So the Natufian genome, just Googled it real quick because I guess Avery had to leave. The Natufian genome's ancient DNA is a mix of 50% basal Eurasian. They don't say nothing about no fucking sub-Saharan African. And 50% from a West Eurasian unknown hunter-gatherer population. These Natufians are not. Then what does it say here? Which was related to European Western hunter-gatherers. Now, we're cheating real quick because I wanted to get a quick answer on this. But Avery knows this shit like the back of his damn hands. This is what ancient Egyptians look like. And guess what? They related to Arabs. Oh no, they not related. The Arabs came later, motherfucker. They are 20. The ancestry is there 2800 BCE. You dumb fuck. This is why I don't take y'all serious. That's why I laugh at you dumb motherfuckers at every chance I get. Motherfucker be on the phone early in the morning. Yashu, the Egyptians are Eurasian. They Eurasian. Okay, you spend all day talking about it, and I'm gonna have fun with it. Because you're the dumb nigga. That's what we do. We exploit you niggas. That's all you're going to get is exploited. But like I said, I know you watching, you bitch ass nigga. If you want to come on, there's the floor. It's just me up here. I'm by myself, solo, dolo, me and my pogo, nigga. Click that link, bro. You ain't going to click it. You's a scary berry ass. All y'all niggas are scary. And I know why you scary. I can't blame you. The information is just not on your side. But you don't want to admit it because let me tell you why. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why real quick. This is exactly why you don't want to admit it. So let me type in George James, stolen history. Let me type this in. Stolen legacy. That's what it's called. Stolen legacy. This is why, because y'all holding on to this shit. Stolen legacy. George James. This is why. This is why you hold on to this. Originally published in 1954. Can you say antiquated with me? Can somebody in the audience say antiquated?
Antiquated.
Outdated. Garbage. The white man stole Egypt. The Greeks stole ancient Egypt, and they turned everybody white. They really Africans. They really our ancestors. They our people. That's what these niggas was doing back then. 1954 shit, nigga. It's 2025. It's 2025, bro. Like, if you ain't gonna be real with me, be real with yourself, bro. I'm gonna show you.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Say what now?
You said you wanted the breakdown of Natufian DNA. I was in the middle of something. I might have to leave at any moment, but you said
it's cool. I got this. I already pulled it up. I cheated and went to got the little wiki right here.
Okay.
50% basal Eurasian ancestry and 50% from West Eurasian unknown hunter-gatherer population, which was related to European Western hunter-gatherers. Nothing about this says Dinka. Nothing about this says Ghanaian, Nigerian. Nothing.
Yeah, that's a pretty basic breakdown. Yeah, there's other breakdowns too. The two main ones.
Yeah.
You can finish saying what you were saying, then I can, if you want me to, I can read.
Yeah,
read
break that shit down. Yeah. Break it down for him, man. This shit is not no damn sub-Saharan African nothing, bro.
Yeah, so if y'all want the papers, I'm pulling up the papers right now that break down the Natufian DNA. There's two. Oh, I'm pulling it up. I don't know why this is acting slow right now. Give me a quick second. I'm pulling it up.
Right. And you know what's so funny, man? The nigga brought up Bardarian. You know, the Bardarian DNA hurt you, right? It hurt you because the Bardarians was dealing with people that come in and repopulate Egypt, bringing in agriculture. And we already know who those people were. That's why they have this Levantine DNA. I mean, it's just very, 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 very fucking easily traceable because we've been knowing for years where the hell ancient Egypt gets agriculture from, where it gets its goats and its sheep from. These are migrants that coming in, bringing in animal husbandry, bringing in animal domestics, bringing in crop cultivation from the damn Levant, you idiots. That's why I kept asking the dude, where does the Bardarian culture come from? Where do these people come from? He couldn't answer it. He could only go forward because that's all he had from the wiki. Anyway.
So here are the two papers, or here's one of the papers that breaks down the Natufian genome. So this one is a reanalyze of whole genome sequence data from 279 ancient Eurasians, reveals substantial ancestral heterogeneity. If you scroll down, it shows a section dealing with the Natufians right here. Again, it's just one way of breaking it down. So the Natufian sample consisted of 61.2% Arabian, which is Arabian hunter-gatherer, 21.2% North African, that's Ibero-Mauritian, 10.9% West Asian, that's going to be from the northern area of the Near East, and then 6.8% Omotic ancestry. So that's the basic breakdown of the Natufians: Arabian, North African, West Asian, and Omotic. The bulk of its ancestry is Arabian. And so that's just one way. Now, here's the second way of modeling Natufian ancestry. And you can get this from the paper.
Hold on. Avery, go back.
Yeah.
No, bro, you need to dump the whole clip, bro. I don't like when you do this, bro. Stand over the body and dump the whole clip into these niggas, man. What the Natufian sample consisted of 61.2% Arabian.
Yeah.
So dummies, if the ancient Egyptian from the Old Kingdom has Levantine Natufian related DNA, then that person is related to Arabian as well.
Yeah, ancient Egyptians and Arabs have the exact same ancestry or the same forefathers who are the Natufians. Or maybe a better way of saying it is, Natufian descendant peoples. Egyptians and Arabs have the same ancestry from Natufian descendant folks. That's why you look at like G25 calculators and things of that nature. Yemeni populations plot close to ancient Egyptians. Now, this doesn't mean that the Yemeni people today are the descendants of ancient Egyptians. It's just that the Yemeni people today are the one population of people who have the highest amount of Natufian DNA in the present day, because the Yemenis typically plot, 70 to 80% Natufian ancestry. And so the ancient Egyptian sample from the early dynastic period was like 90-something% Natufian, so he's going to be closely related to Arabian populations, even though he's not an Arabian himself.
Right.
Because when it comes to the this gets whole into the divergence of Arabian and Natufian Levantine DNA, but I'm not going to get into all that right now. I want to go to the second paper.
Hold on. Bro. Let me twist this knife real quick. The transition in the Levant from the Epi-Paleolithic, these are time periods right here, to the Neolithic, the New Stone period, involved an increase of Arabian ancestry at the expense of North African and Omotic ancestries.
Mm-hmm. That's when Arabian hunter-gatherers were going into the Levant and stuff like that.
Exactly. And it says the transition from the Neolithic period to the Bronze Age involved the acquisition of principally West Asian ancestry with smaller contributions of Southern European and Southern Asian ancestry. These people are not sub-Saharan African. They're not.
Yep. Barely
George,
even North Africa.
referencing Diop and George James, those days are fucking over. It's fucking over. Go ahead, man. Keep going. You niggas, that's why you're not going to come up here. Because you know you're going to get your ass beat the fuck up on simple shit.
Yeah, so that's this paper. Now, here's a second paper. It gives a slightly different interpretation to the Natufian genome. This is Paleolithic DNA from the Caucasus, reveals core of West Eurasian ancestors. So what is this paper saying about Natufians? Scroll down to the relevant portion. So it shows both a graph and there's a reading. I'm just going to show the graph really quick. Well, actually, I should do the reading first. So, let's see. I think it's right here. I'm going to mispronounce the name of this population. I think it's that this ancestry is coming from Duziana or something like that. I think they say it in here.
Dazuna, you got it.
All right, Dazuna, okay. So it says our co-modeling of Epipaleolithic Natufians and Ibero-Mauritians from Turfal confirms that the Turfal population was mixed, but instead of specifically specifying gene flow from the ancestors of Natufians into the ancestors of Turfal was originally reported, we infer gene flow in the reverse direction into Natufians. The Neolithic population from Morocco, closely related to Natufians, is also consistent with being descendant from the source of this gene flow. And it appears to have no admixture from Levantine Neolithic. In our model, if our model is correct, Epipaleolithic Natufians trace part of their ancestry to North Africa, consistent with morphological and archaeological studies that indicate a spread of these morphological features and artifacts from North Africa to the Near East. So basically what this paper is saying is that part of the Natufian ancestry is actually coming from the Ibero-Mauritians. So it's in the reverse. It's not Natufians, or should I say, it's not Neolithic Levantines going from the Levant into North Africa, but rather it's Turfalt-like gene flow in people coming from North Africa into the Levant. And this would take up a certain portion of Natufian DNA. There's a second portion of Natufian DNA coming from a population in Georgia and the Near East in the northern part. And this population is the Duziana right here. So just to kind of go back and show y'all, here's Duziana. 73% of the Natufian ancestry is coming from a sister population to the Duziana. Right here, 73%. You might see this arrow coming from a sister population, 73%. And then the rest of the Natufian DNA is coming from a sister population to the Turfal. Right there, you see the split. There's a sister population, and it's 27%. So Natufians in this model is about 27% Turfal related, and 73%, I'll just say West Eurasian.
Yep.
So those are the two basic models. Just recover it. This model, Natufians are more Arabian. So this is more like basically indigenous to the Levant. And this model right here is more so like Natufians are coming out of North Africa, along with the E lineage. It mentions that in the paper too. I didn't read it, but it mentions the E lineage would have also migrated out of North Africa to the Levant. Now, in this paper right here, the Paleolithic paper.
Right. And in doing so, these daughter lineages or son lineages, rather, have completely developed into Eurasians. And this is what these people don't fucking understand, man.
Yeah.
This is so mind-boggling. North African is actually a daughter branch of Eurasian. So you're saying the same goddamn thing. 27,000 years ago, the autosomes come from the autosomes for North African comes from the Eurasian branch and splits off. That lets you know people are moving into what we now call North Africa that long ago.
Yep. So that's all. That's the Natufian breakdown. And then there's the one that Jashub said earlier about the basal Eurasian, because that's a third interpretation where Natufians are like half basal Eurasian and then half unknown hunter-gatherer. That's also Eurasian. So there's like three different interpretations for basal for Natufians.
The house is on fire.
Yep. And again, that's why none of you bitch ass niggas gonna come on here. Yo, scary, berry ass niggas. You understand? Shout out to Silky. Silky came on. Silky had came on. Y'all ain't came on once. That's what happened when you deal with scary ass dudes, bro. Y'all scary, man. Talked all that shit, man. I said, hey, we starting to stream. Y'all, yeah, you don't want to get up, come on here where we can present our streams and show the fucking information. You don't want none of that. You want to be able to just blab and just say shit and meta AI, throw meta AI fucking alterations out there all day. Boy, I tell you, it's a sad life y'all living, man. But yeah, what else I was gonna bring up about this? But this right here ain't gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta let this shit go, bro. I'm telling you, y'all gotta let Stolen Legacy. What's another one? Diop. His book on Kemet. Let me see if I can find that motherfucker. This nigga right here. Look, Sheikh Anta Diop was an African historian who argued that ancient Kemet, Egypt, was an indigenous black civilization. This is your boy. This is your boy. This is y'all savior, bro. This is the Jesus figure to many of you afrocentrics. And none of the DNA that we're seeing is recapitulating any of the bullshit that this nigga was teaching. I'm going to show you the preview for this new paper. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This new paper that we're still waiting on to drop, man. I've been waiting on that paper to drop so I can drop it on y'all motherfucking head, drop it on y'all fucking biscuit.
Wasn't that paper supposed to come out by now?
Yeah, it's listed as finished. It's listed as finished in February, but it still hasn't dropped. But we can still read the paper. We can still read the what do you call it? The abstract.
Oh, the abstract, yeah.
Yeah. So, let me find out the one with the 4,000 year history. Where is it at? Here it is. Genetic study. Human remains 4,000 to 800 BCE. And it says, I think 7 nuclear genomes. See, when you get a nuclear genome, like I just read, that's letting you know the DNA of the people on the population level. Because those are the autosomes that he would have had contracted and extracted that shit from. That's what he extracted. He extracted Anatolian, Iranian DNA from the people there. That's letting you know that these people are not fucking sub-Saharan African. Oh my God. Yeah, y'all in trouble.
Simple stuff.
Simple shit, bro. Simple stuff, man. Easy to get. All you gotta do is read the paper as is. That's it. So I think this is it right here. Yeah. So genetic study of ancient Egyptian human remains dating from the pre-dynastic period to the early Islamic period, circa 4,000 calibrated BCE, 800 calibrated CE. And it states let me see. Thus, so far, less than 5 ancient genome-wide data sets have been published. In addition, mitochondrial genomes are almost exclusively limited to the time span ranging from the New Kingdom to the Roman period, which is 5050 BCE to 395 CE. We should have closed curtain last time the DNA came out, because we got DNA from 4,000 years ago. That's U5. That's European hunter-gatherer related. We got DNA in ancient Egypt during that in Upper Egypt. And y'all been claiming this period. Y'all been claiming this period. Y'all claimed the 18th dynasty. Y'all claimed the 12th dynasty. Y'all claimed all these damn dynasties. Now they want to say, no. Well, this is when the Hyksos came and they changed the genome. Now y'all want to backstep the shit. Because at first it was the DNA didn't change, the people didn't change until the Persians came. Now y'all want to drop it. Now y'all want to get rid of all of this ancient Egyptian history. Ain't that a bitch? After 10 years and 15, 20 years, and you niggas just constantly harping on the what's that writing? The Book of the Dead, the day fourth by coming of harvest called. All that shit's written during this period. So y'all throwing that all in the trash because you're fucking race mongers. All right. So it says that's the time span a lot of these genomes were coming from, as well to a single archaeological site, Abusir El Malek. To extend the pool of ancient Egyptian genome datasets, both mitochondrial and genome-wide, we report the results of genetic study of 100 ancient Egyptian human remains. They're going to give us 100 piece. And all you bitch-ass afrocentrics are going to cry your eyes out because we already know what the results are because they tell you what the fucking results are. They literally tell you. It says overall, these individuals exhibited an endogenous human DNA content between 0.01% and 40.84%. Using enrichment capture targeted mitochondrial DNA, we were able to reconstruct complete mitogenomes for 25 individuals dating from the pre-dynastic period to the period. That's 3500 BCE. We're going to see old pre-dynastic DNA. We're talking Nakata period DNA with this paper. And encompassing the archaeological sites of Asyut, Akhmim, Deir el Bahari, Deir el Medina, Thebes, the Valley of Queens, and Jebel. These genomes exhibit mtDNA haplogroup diversity. Watch this. Because remember, y'all was bitching about the DNA coming from 1550 BC and onward. Y'all don't even want to claim it now because it's largely Eurasian, right? Watch this. These genomes exhibit an mtDNA haplogroup diversity similar to ancient Egyptian haplogroup profiles published by Schumann et al. You niggas are fucking done. You're finished. None of these samples are going to recapitulate or comport to a sub-Saharan origin of ancient Egyptians, you fucking idiots. Just like it says, the genomes exhibit an mtDNA haplogroup diversity similar to ancient Egyptian haplogroup profiles published by Schumann. So you're going to see haplogroup I, you're going to see U5, you're going to see U6, you're going to see M1, you're going to see the same haplogroups going all the way back to the pre-dynastic period. It says this provides further evidence for shared maternal ancestries. This is going to make you niggas cry, man. I love it. I love it. I love making you niggas cry, nigga. You niggas need to fucking cry. So many motherfuckers coddling you pseudos. You need to be, the knife has to be driven in and twisted. And we got to watch you bleed out. Because how many years we have to suffer through Black Hebrew Israelite bullshit, Afrocentric bullshit. That shit is dying. And y'all want to claim that Africans went and started Cambodia and shit now. Ronoko Rashidi ass niggas. The whole planet was colonized by Nigerians, according to you niggas. It says this provides further evidence for shared maternal ancestries between Western Eurasians or Northern African populations and ancient Egyptians during and after the New Kingdom. In addition, we also found Western Eurasian mitochondrial DNA haplogroups in individuals dated to the periods prior to the New Kingdom. Oh, that's y'all ass. We already seen one haplogroup I in the building, nigga. Y'all fucking done. Furthermore, we performed a whole genome enrichment capture on 7 individuals. We getting 7 new genomes. And I can already tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be mostly Natufian Levantine related, right? Pre-pottery Neolithic B&A related. It's going to be related to your Anatolian and the same thing as we've been seeing Iranian. These are your ancient Egyptians, motherfuckers. Not no goddamn sub-Saharan Africans. Them niggas lied to you. We performed a whole genome enrichment capture on 7 individuals to test these findings also on a genome-wide scale. Overall, this study provides further insights into the demographic history of ancient Egyptians, considering a broader geographical context in the older periods of Egypt's past. It's over. That's your ass, Mr. Postman. That's your ass. Yes, Palermo. 7 different sites. And those sites recapitulate the findings from Abu Sir Malik. Y'all fucking finished, man. It's over for you, nigga. It's over. It's over now. Game over. It's over. Man, it's done, bro. Hang it up.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to jump on.
No, ain't no jumping on. Niggas scary. I put the scary berry ass niggas, man.
They were all smoking the chat, talking and stuff. As soon as we went live, they pretty much left a few comments in the chat and then got quiet. They're not even active anymore online.
Lame ass nigga, be quiet. That's all you gotta do.
And they kicked us out the group.
Yep.
So, yeah.
This is why y'all don't get taken serious. This is why we laugh at you all day. And y'all be in there crying your eyes out. Y'all be crying y'all asses off. And here, we already got this is sweet. This is because we already have this one. We already have this sample. This sample just sweet music to my ears. The Nerad 001 derived the majority of his ancestry from the ancestry present in the Natufians from the Levant, which we already shown is pretty much Arabian-like, right? Majority of it is Arabian-like, and Epipaleolithic group associated with the first agricultural practices. This makes sense. Ancient Egypt does not have a serendipitous agrarian culture. Its agrarian culture comes from outside of ancient Egypt, which comes from the Near East, which comes from the Levant. So we will expect Levantine people with this DNA to come down into Egypt and begin to populate it. It says he perhaps has a low level of ancestry from a source related to one of the 3 remaining ancestral components present in West Asia and North Africa, which is Anatolia, Epipaleolithic, Caucasus Paleolithic, or Iranian Mesolithic. Guess what we're going to see with those other 7 genomes? Anatolian, Caucasus, and Iranian Mesolithic. Guess what we're not going to see in the other genomes? We ain't going to see no West African related DNA. We're not going to see anything that will reflect on you dumbasses' Diop ideology. Nothing. At all. We're not gonna see that.
But Meta AI says
Meta AI said it does come from sub-Saharan African DNA. I'm standing on truth. No, you're standing on manipulation. That's why I told you, motherfuckers, you need to read a fucking paper. You don't read the papers. You try to find and microwave information with Meta AI, and you fucking lead the witness. You tell AI what to say.
They be saying Meta AI prove that ancient Egypt. They don't say Meta AI was Egypt sub-Saharan African or Eurasian. They don't say that. They say
nope. They feed it and shoehorn their doctrine to recapitulate and solidify their doctrine. That's it. That's all they care. They're doctrinaires. You guys are what's a doctrinaire? Let me show y'all real quick. Let me show y'all real quick what a doctrinaire is. So a doctrinaire, that's your ass, Mr. Postman. That's old for that shit. I'm waiting on that paper. As soon as that paper come out, I don't care how late it is or when it is, I'm doing a video as soon as it come out. We reading that shit live. Y'all know how we do. So what's a doctrinaire?
Doctrinaire.
seeking to impose a doctrine in all circumstances without regard to practical considerations. Avery, tell me this ain't them niggas. Tell me. This got them niggas written all over it. That's all y'all do. That's all. This is all y'all. Y'all are doctrinaires. You don't give a fuck about the information. You don't care. You just want to come out and regurgitate Diopism. I think I coined that shit. Diopism, nigga. Obangaism. Old scholars from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. That shit outdated like a motherfucker. That's all it
is, though. It really is.
Come on, bro.
Doctrinaire.
You niggas is doctrinaires, bro. You're going to have to get with the program. You're going to have to get with the program, bro. Just like these Hispanic Israelites, you're going to have to get with the program. You black Hebrew Israelites, you got to get with the program. Y'all not Israelites. We don't have to play these games no more. We understand DNA. You're not ancient Egyptians. We don't have to play these games no more. We understand DNA. We know what is DNA. It's the study of ancestry. We don't have to make shit up like y'all been doing. Y'all love to make shit up. All you do is make shit up. That's your whole purpose to be on social media. Is to be a clown and make shit up. So I'm good at meeting you. I'll meet you where you at. If I see you don't know shit, all right, I'm going to meet you where you at. You a clown? All right, we playing clown games today. Do you want to play a game? And I'll play them games with you. You're not worth having a serious dialogue about this because you're not actually reading this shit. You don't give a fuck about it. You didn't even know this paper existed. You're trying to find shit to confirm your bias on sub-Saharan Africans. See, I come from this afrocentric ass shit, black Hebrew Israelite shit. I was there. I weaned myself out that shit. How? By actually fucking considering and reading the shit. Not creating a doctrine, not trying to reinforce my doctrine. Just with an open mind, read the fucking papers of what they say. When I started doing that shit, I got freed from that bullshit.
Not saying everything's a conspiracy and the white man and all that. Not saying that either.
Right. They love that. That's the next one. The white man trying to trick y'all from y'all greatness. He trying to take Egypt from y'all. George James was right. Oh, we got Yehuda. Who is Yehuda? Yehuda in the building.
Yo, Shalom, what's good, man?
Shalom, what's happening, bro? What you got?
I seen the title. I was like, what? Afrocentric? Why are you debating that? The Bible's Afrocentric. What's going on here?
The Bible's not Afrocentric, brother. Please don't make me do this to you.
If you understand the Bible as it's supposed to be understood, then you'd know it's Afrocentric, my brother.
Okay.
Well, first, my bad. Go ahead, you shoot.
Explain how is it Afrocentric?
So yeah, Afrocentric being the focus on people that typically we perceive as being African features, right? So today, myself, I'd be seen as an African. You know what I'm saying? I've got Afro, got the features. The Bible's all about my people, about Israelites. This is, the face of a chosen people right here, brother. Hence, the Bible is Afrocentric.
The Bible says all the stuff you just said.
Yeah, I can definitely show it. I can definitely show that in the Bible.
It says that your facial features are the chosen.
Yeah. You want me to show you?
Hey, I'm enlightened to see.
All right, all praise.
You have anything to share to shoot before he does that? I was just making a comment, but was there anything?
No, let him get the floor. He a brave soul. He came up here, so I want you to go ahead and have your continued dialogue. I got something I'm gonna ask him when he finished.
Yeah, all right, you can go ahead and do what you was doing there, bro.
All right, so check it out, right? So Exodus 2 and verse 15. It says, now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. If I jump down to verse 19, and they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds. So these women mistook Moses being an Israelite, being a Hebrew, for an African, for an Egyptian. Okay, according to the Bible, the Egyptians were a black African race. So, this basically shows that the chosen people, the Israelites, had African features such as black skin, like my skin. So if the Bible centered on the people of Moses, it's focused on, people that we perceive as African today. So it's afrocentric. So there's one justification for it.
Okay, cool. So where in the Bible does it say that?
Hold on, let me rebut that real quick. Hold on, let me rebut that on what the Egyptians may have looked like, right? Can you identify what I'm about to show you on the screen? Do you know what this is here? Are you looking at? Can you see that?
I can read it. Yeah, I can read what you showed me.
What does that say right there?
So it says, "The faces of free men who lived in ancient Egypt more than 2,000 years ago have been brought back to life."
Okay, so could have, let's just play along with this. Could have Moses look like one of these people?
Definitely not, for multiple reasons. For
Okay.
example, right? You just giving me this dubious source, and when we look into,
You said it's dubious.
yeah. Because let me just ask you an honest question. Let me see if you're an honest guy, right?
Okay.
So the alleged history that we've been provided and the historical depictions of various ancient people, do you think they've always been accurate depictions of those people? Or do you think sometimes they doctor the history, they alter the depictions to suit certain agendas? What would you say?
You're saying that there are modern people that are messing or fudging with the pictures.
No,
right?
I'm asking you a question. Do you think, the so-called scholars ever fabricate these kind of images that they put out to represent Asian people?
No, they don't. If you're talking referencing, if you're referencing to what I'm showing you, this is based off the DNA that was found.
No. I'm saying in general. Do you think they've ever came with this kind of like deception, or do you think they're always just 100% unbiased? They just seek to give the historical accurate truth.
That's too general. Because who are we talking about? Are we talking about some random person in the Caucasus Mountains?
I'm just saying in general, what's been given to public access of ancient civilizations when they do their, reconstructions. Do you always think those reconstructions are accurate, or do you think
yes,
always
accurate? Yeah, because they base it on the empirical evidence.
Okay, so already I'm identifying like a strong Christian man. But yeah, go ahead.
Hold on, Lion of Sahel. You got a lot of background noise. Yehuda was still talking.
I think he
said
that's
Ngozi. That's Ngozi. Oh.
What's up, brother? I'm listening.
His mic is so
your
bad.
mic is low, bro. Your mic is very low.
Hold on 1 second.
Are you on your phone or what?
Yeah, I'm about to get on my laptop so I can get on. 1
second.
second.
Hey, Yehuda, I want to tell you something about these three individuals. These three individuals' DNA match with the old kingdom Egyptians. The old kingdom Egyptians. What you got to say about that?
So, yeah, what I've got to say about that, right, is in the book of Psalms, chapter 116 and verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it says this.
Right.
I said in my haste, all men are liars. So we need to understand that people lie. Romans 3:4 says, let God be true and every man a liar. So if I can look into the Bible and the Bible is telling me the biblical Egyptians, before they had the Greeks conquer them and, intermingle with their civilization, in the time of Moses, if the Bible's telling me those people were black, yeah, then I'm going to go with the biblical account rather than any secular account. Now, would you agree to that, brother? If the Bible said the biblical Hamites were black, would you agree with that over this reference?
But the Bible doesn't say that.
Well, let's start from a hypothetical premise, though.
I won't agree with it. I won't agree with it because I don't agree with it.
So even if the Bible clearly said, because I don't know you, brother, so I'm just trying to understand how highly.
I'm agnostic.
Hey, let me see if I can do a little bit of a tango real quick. So you don't like these three reconstructions because they're modern science and all that stuff, right? You don't really jive with that.
Well, it's not that I don't like them. It holds no weight to me. If the Bible says left and you give me a scholar that says right,
Right.
the scholar's
So-
just wrong by default. Like, I don't even consider that. Like,
So
do
how
they know
about an
more than
ancient?
God? No.
How about an ancient depiction, like how the ancient Egyptians depicted themselves? You want me to pull something like that up then? Something from their time period and from the actual people themselves. Is that better?
Yeah, but even that is dubious, because who is showing us this ancient depiction? You know, the
What do you
point
mean?
is, it could have been doctored. Like, these people that are showing us these depictions have had access to them, and we know there's always reconstructions, retouching of things. Like, I can't just trust that, my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you can't. So something like, this ancient Egyptian, you can't, like, do you think an ancient Egyptian could have looked like this and depicted themselves in this manner?
So, first of all, how old is this statue? How old is it?
How old do you think it is? Before I give you the date, how old do you think?
I've not got any clue. I don't care to
This
guess.
is from the Old Kingdom.
So tell me,
It's from
what
the
date
fourth.
is that?
It's from the fourth dynasty specifically.
Yeah, so about 4,800 years ago.
Okay. So how comes the painting looks so fresh?
I mean 5,800 years.
The
Sorry.
painting doesn't look like it's mad or deteriorate with age. Like, do they have some phenomenal
if you zoom
painting back
in
then?
like this, if you zoom in, you
or
actually can see that it's chipped and looks really old and dated.
So after thousands of years, that's the only deterioration. A bit of the eyebrows.
I mean, I can show the entire statue.
So
but
Egypt
the point
is Eurasia. So let me just ask you a question, brother. So
let
what
me show
you're
you this.
saying?
Here's a better one. Here's the full set.
Yeah. So let me just get your understanding. So you're saying that's never been retouched. This hasn't been repainted.
No.
Okay, because me looking at that straight away,
you can even see parts that are like literally have no paint on them because you know how old it is. So yeah, it's not been repainted. If it was, then they would have just painted this as well. So
how many thousands of years was it meant to be?
This is the fourth dynasty.
So how many thousands of years ago was that meant to be?
5,800 around there.
Okay, so me using my God-given brain, looking at that right away, I can see that that's definitely been touched up. Even if there's a little bit of a patch here, like, somebody could just paint around it. For example, when I was in school, we had to try and write these letters and make it look like it was from the 1950s. So we dipped it in coffee and we scrunched up all the paper, because that's how you make things look like they're from a certain period of time. But that just is not very convincing to me. But one thing that is convincing to me is the Bible. So both of you guys don't believe in the Bible then?
Oh, I didn't say that. No, I do believe in the Bible.
You believe in the Bible. Okay, so what do you make of this then, right? So in the Bible, in the book of Genesis chapter 10, talking about Egypt, the Bible testifies this about Egypt. It says, Genesis 10 and verse 6.
By the way, before you say something, and Goldie, is your mic working or what?
Yeah, it's working, bro.
Oh,
it's working good.
That's a lot better. When he's done, we'll let you go.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead and see what you got, and then we'll let Ngozi speak.
All right, so check this out, bro. So it says, and the sons of Ham, Cush and Mitzrayim and Phut and Egypt and Canaan. So Ham, his son was called Cush, father of Sudanese, father of Ethiopians, Kenyans, and Cush even means black. So Cush was a black man. Now, if Cush is black, Ham is black. Mitzrayim is the brother of the Cushites. So that means modern day Sudanese, who we know are black people, unless they've mixed with Arabs or white people, they are natively black, right? They are brothers to the Egyptians. So this shows me right here, brother, that the biblical Egyptians that lived in the time of Moses, Abraham, they were black. Now we know that Egypt became really big like America, and we had the Mediterranean trade, and we had the Greeks come over who were clearly not black, and they had a period in Egypt where it was a lot of non-black people in Egypt, and even now there's Arab people in Egypt. But when we're talking about the biblical Egypt of the time of Moses, this is way before the Greeks even came over there, G.
Yeah. Hold on, Avery. Yehuda, keep reading that scripture about Nimrod. Keep going.
Okay. I'll keep reading that. But let me just ask him a quick question. So, Egypt is Eurasia. You know,
Yeah, so,
Mitzrayim here, brother of Cush. What color do you think the person Mitzrayim was?
well, going all the way back to Mizraim and Noah and them, I think everybody was dark skinned.
So he would have been.
Every human being on the planet descends from dark skinned human beings. So you have to
Okay.
go with something more than just skin tone to prove whether or not somebody descends from someone, because there, one, like I said, everybody on the planet, whether you're European, Caucasian, whatever, they all descend from dark skinned populations. And to this day, there are still dark skinned Eurasian people like Dravidian Indians. The people in India, Dravidians, Tamils, they're extremely dark skinned, almost black.
Exactly.
You also have, I'm almost finished. You also have the peoples of Oceania, like the Australian Aborigines. And you also have Polynesians. And obviously, you got sub-Saharan Africans and people like that. But just because everybody is dark skinned doesn't mean that everybody is, let's say, closely genetically related or the same. There are ways we can use genetics to differentiate between everybody who's dark skinned. And like I said, every human being at one point descends from dark skinned humans. So saying that, oh, Ham is dark skinned, like, what does that mean? Like, everybody was dark skinned. Every human was dark. Everybody descends from dark skinned humans. So it's like,
so here's what it means. Ain't nobody saying that every single race of dark skinned people are the same, but you made a great point. All the indigenous people are always black. No matter where you go, they are black. Okay. So if you can concede that the original Egyptians are black, then you show me all of this stuff of these lighter complected depictions of Egyptians, which I don't accept. But I do accept Egypt did have a time where the native people did become lighter in complexion, and lighter complexion people did rule because they had admixture, which made them deviant from how they originally looked. What I'm talking about is if we can identify the Egyptians in the time of Moses and how they looked like, then we can identify what the chosen race looked like, the Israelites.
Yeah, but during the time of Moses, they would have had lighter skinned people there. That's what I was showing.
Can I add on? Can I say something right quick, or brother?
I'm gonna say something really quick, and then I'll let you go, Ngozi. But by the time of, like what Jashub said, by the time of Moses, there already would have been light-skinned populations in Egypt, including the Egyptians themselves, because we can see that 5,000 years ago, you had light-skinned entering into North Africa with the KEB population, as well as early European farmers entering into North Africa with the KEB.
That's complete garbage. You know why? Because DNA is such a very new science that man hasn't even fully figured out as yet. But in their hubris, they claim to have all of this knowledge that they can discern from DNA, which they don't even fully comprehend as yet. DNA is still like hieroglyphics to these people. Are just about discerning the Rosetta Stone, and they're making all of these theories just to try and support their presuppositions to try and what is it? To cast doubt on the blackness of Egypt, and that has always been an agenda for these people.
You can go ahead, Ngozi, by the way.
So for those who deal with the biblical stuff outside of being, believers, just dealing with the timeline and the chronology of what they say, right? I'm not here to disrespect anyone's belief, because I believe in God. I'm a Muslim, so whatever. But I'm just saying, outside of the belief of what we know, we can follow the chronology or the timeline of when these people exist. And according to the narrative of the biblical narrative, Prophet Noah or Prophet Nun or Noah, peace be upon him, whether you believe he exists historically or not, or symbolically or whatever, or metaphorically, these people are Iranians. They are people that descend from near Iran and Iraq. Ham, because according to the Quran, it was 4 sons, one of them drowned. But I'm not going to go there. I'm going to follow the biblical narrative. But Ham would have been an Iranian. He would have been those type of people. It even goes back to what people classify as racist Egyptologists when the afrocentrics like to talk about the Hamito-Semitic race theory or the Hamitic race theory that comes from outside of Africa and came into Africa and kind of took over. It still kind of follows what the sciences is talking about, believe it or not. Even though those people back then were not as complex in science or genetics as we look at it today, but it still kind of fall in line with what they were saying in ancient times. Ham would not have been an African originally. Noah wasn't an African. These were people from the Near East, near Iraq and Iran. Ham would have went into Africa and would have been a father of the African race. So is Cush. Because even if you study the Cushitic branch of Afroasiatic, they are a mixture between Neolithic Levantines who mixed with pre-Nilotic and Moda type people before going down into the Horn of Africa and becoming a Somali type people. But what bridged them together is the Afroasiatic language. And Afroasiatic language probably diverged somewhere in between Upper Egypt, the Sinai, or the Levant. They're still in question of that, where Afroasiatic starts from. But when you start these Semitic branches of it, the Semitic branch has a proto-phase. And after the Semitic branch, it has phases when it started to mingle with people from pre-Anatolian groups, which is another layer of West Asians, Iranian Neolithic farmers, where a lot of this stuff is coming from. The same Iranian Neolithic farmers that's partly responsible for building Sumer. They also went into Egypt. They had the increase of the CHG, the Caucasus hunter-gatherer layer that started to diverge and go into different populations in different ways. So Ham would have been swarthy skin or dark skin, but he wasn't a black man. So when you look at the Hamitic race is talking about narrow, aquiline featured people with swarthy dark skin, not the Congoids, not the Nilotics, or the indigenous Africans that stays there. It's talking about a group of people that come from somewhere else and went into Africa. So just because Ham wasn't black, Shem wasn't black, and Japheth, the father of what they classify as the Eurasians or the Caucasians, not Eurasians, but the Caucasians, he wasn't black either. They all come from the same Iranian type of man, whether you believe it or not. If you really follow it, the stories is based off the Tigris and Euphrates. It goes into Egypt, but Egypt was highly influenced by Eurasians at different time periods and different phases of time. So Ham wasn't black. Ham wasn't black. Also, one more thing. I wanted to go to the second model or third model that my brother Ibri brought up with the Zuzana. The Zuzana was also not fully, they were mixed because the Zuzana was a mixture between Basal Eurasian, which is Arabian hunter-gatherer like, and West Asian hunter-gatherer that diverged from mainland West Asians 26,000 years ago when you follow who they were. They were 30% Basal Eurasian, which means they were 30% pre-Arabian hunter-gatherer like, because the pre-Arabian hunter-gatherers or the Basal Eurasians, they lived on the Persian Gulf or the Arabian side of plate tectonic from Saudi Arabia all the way through southern Iran and Iraq. They go north and they mix with the West Eurasians or those mainland West Eurasians that diverged 26,000 years ago. So when they go to the Zuzana zones of the Lesser Caucasus, where they were, that's why they call it Zuzana, they mix with those West Asian hunter-gatherers there. And those mixed West Asian hunter-gatherers who mix with the Basal Eurasians started to go in different directions. And some of them go back into North Africa. And as they go back into North Africa, they're meeting up with the the remnants of the Assyrian culture, which was that 35 to 40% sub-Saharan African Hadza Yoruba-like signature. But it's actually ancestral North African. And then they become mixed, and they become these Ibero-Maurutians or these Tephritic groups. And then they leave back out of Africa in some layers. These are mixed North Africans that went into the Levant and met up with more of an increase of the strongest signals of Basal Eurasians, not the high levels of West Eurasians. So what we see in these PCAs is that a mixed population of North Africans who were already highly admixed with haplogroup E went into the Levant and met up with those Arabian hunter-gatherers or Basal Eurasians. Remember, Zuzana, if you look it up, ChatPT, look up the article, whatever, Zuzana was already 30% Basal Eurasian. The West was West Asian hunter-gatherer, a distinct branch that was related to Villabrana, the early West Eurasians that was lingering around Europe at one time. If you look at it, even the Ibero-Maurutians had traces of higher signals in Neanderthal DNA in them compared to the Basal Eurasians in Arabia. So when they leave out, as they meet up with those people again, bringing them E, they're running into the Basal Eurasians who are majority Basal Eurasian in the Epipaleolithic phase. They run into them and they mix more and create this Natufian group of people. So they were already highly West Asian leaving out of North Africa at this time. So that means the African component, the ancestral North African component that was in them, that was 35% to 40%, depending on the PCA, it decreased even more. Then it went through further genetic drift, where they were highly closely to West Asians. And then they started going backwards and forth from the Sinai because they had drought. So you have something called the Cambrian culture. The Cambrian culture were those Basal Eurasians. But you also have a phase in Egypt from the Sibyllian groups, where these are the same people, when it's a drought in Levant, they go through the Sinai and they end up in certain layers of Egypt. And they always found Egypt as refugium before you even had a dynastic period of Egypt. And then the Phiam A group was related to the pre-Proto-Neolithic group. And the pre-Proto-Neolithic group was in the Levant. The Phiam A group, if you look at the mass they had, like the death mass, it's the same thing that you find in the Levant even earlier. And the pre-Proto-Neolithic group is a mixture between Turkish and Natufians. Epipaleolithic are not Neolithic Levantine farmers. That's a mixture between the Chalcolithic phase, but the Chalcolithic phase come later. So you got the Natufians, you got the Neolithic Levantine farmers, which is a mixture between people from southern Turkey and the Natufian groups. Then you have the Chalcolithic phase, where the people from Iran and pre-Armenian groups started to come in with the CHG signals. They take over 6,000 years ago. Then you got the Bronze Age phase. So if you follow it, those Neolithic Levantine farmers, they went back into Egypt too, and they were related to the Phaim A group that lived in the north. Then they go south, and they mix with the indigenous fragments who already had layers of drifted Natufian signals in them already prior. So then they start to mingle with the Badarians. But before
are you open to debate, or are you just monologuing?
And before the Badarians, I'm almost finished. After the Badarians, you get the Nakata. Nakata also had a track in between the Levant going backwards and forth. This is why when you look at the Nakata 1, 2, and 3, especially in the 3 phase, you start to see familiar Near Eastern art.
Right. Right. That's why when the nigga brought up the Badarians earlier, I was like, you really don't want to talk about the Badarians, bro.
No, they don't. No, they don't, because they were already highly admixed. Even when you go back 13,000 years in Jebel Sahaba, there's a war going on between something that they labeled as Afro-Levantine European, which is Ibero-Maurutian types, fighting against these pre-Nilotic like people that's sitting in the south. So this Natufian signal always played a role and found refugium in Egypt. It's like they'll leave, they'll go into the Levant, certain phases of drought, and they'll go back into Egypt, and they definitely hovered all through Middle Egypt, certain layers of Lower Egypt, and then they also went to the base of Upper Egypt, because in Jebel Sahaba, I think they said 20 miles away from Jebel Sahaba, those Eastern Nilotic groups or pre-Nilotic groups who they found who was murdered, they was going backwards and forth with these people. But Eurasians kept coming in. They kept coming in. They just kept coming in. So it's like, you can't really separate North Africa from West Asia, because it was always a refugium base for either Anatolian farmers or even old West Asian farmers from the Levant. It was always a refugium base.
Right.
It was always that.
Right.
Can I push back on what you're saying? I want to push back on what you're saying. So you say you're a Muslim, right? The guy that just spoke.
Yeah, I'm Muslim, yes.
All right. So how do you claim a history that goes back 13,000 years when the scripture testifies? Hold up 1 second. The scripture testifies the earth is 6,000 years from now to Adam, the first man. So how can you have a pre-Adamite civilization? You're talking about Natufian civilization being 13,000 years ago. The Bible says civilization extends 6,000 years. So how do you reconcile that when it comes to your religious
the Quran narrative, which means to recite, of time is different than what you guys interpret, because there is no 6,000 years from a Quranic narrative. But I'll tell you this: I'm not an Islamic scholar.
How long did you
hold on, brother. You asked me a question. I want to answer your question.
Go ahead.
I want to ask you a question. I'm of African descent. My mother's Fulani. My father's African American. He's a Muslim. My mother's Fulani. So I grew up culturally Muslim, right? This is my background. But I'm not a practicing religious Muslim. I'm more secular. So some things I see as being allegorical. I don't see things literal. But I could tell you that the way the Arabs or the way the Quran was put in play through Jibreel when he gave it to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or however you want to look at that, the chronology of time, the way the biblical narrative from you guys' perspective isn't the same. That's why a Muslim and a Hebrew will have a debate against one another in certain things, because we don't see eye to eye in certain layers, because according to us, your book is full of contradictions. But that's not me. I'm not here to battle that. I like the Bible and respect it. I'm just saying, to a Muslim scholar, I'm sure you live in the UK, you see what goes on between, the brothers who follow the Torah or the Bible and the brothers who practice Islam, and they go backwards and forth. You know what I'm saying? So
okay, I understand your perspective that you don't take the literal biblical chronology or the Muslim chronology. But then how about this, right? So you made a few mistakes with many things that you said, right? And one thing that I want to home in on is you saying that Ham, Noah, Shem, that these were not black people. However, the Bible is a testimony, right? It testifies these people and it gives information as to what they would have looked like. Okay. So now you've got your reasons of whatever resources you've got that testify your paradigm of not believing they're black, right? But I would say the Bible is a much more credible testament of these ancient peoples, because if it wasn't for the Bible, you wouldn't even know about a Ham, a Cush, or a Shem, or any significance. The Bible is what gives context to these people and actually facilitates the study and makes these people persons of interest. So when we go to this account, right, on these people, Genesis chapter 10 and verse 6 says, and the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim. Quick question. Do you know what the word Cush means? Because that name has a meaning. Do you know what it means?
No, tell me what it means.
The word Cush literally means black.
Okay.
It means black. Why do you think Cush was called black?
I mean, it's just like what we see with the Somali people, the Cushitic speakers.
Okay.
I mean, it was black. I would, if you let me answer, I would say from listening to what you're saying, because I thought Kush meant in other texts it meant southerner, because it's not in my mind right now, but I thought it meant southerner, like you have Indus Kush, you have Kish and Sumer. I didn't think it meant a racial thing when it comes to black, but if it is that, I would say that those swarthy skinned Levantine people who were like Socotra looking Yemenese people who were swarthy brown mixed into pre-Nilotic women. And they did produce people that look black compared to the reddish skinned people that was all around them. You know, so that's the only thing I could say.
So Cush is a Hebrew word for black in this context, yeah?
Okay.
So if Cush, in Hebrew literally means black, meaning that this man Cush, who is the father, of for example, you've identified Somali people. Would you concede that modern day Nubians are also Cushites? Are you right to pull up a picture of a Nubian, please? Can we get a picture of a Nubian?
Yeah, the Northern Sudanese, definitely. They would be, you know, because the people in Egypt call the people in upper Northern Sudan Kush or wretched Kush. But see, that's the thing. That's the thing, though, about that, though, because Kush has so many meanings. So to the Hebrew, you know, I don't know if it's the same thing what the Egyptians did, because why would the Egyptians, you know, if you study the Egyptians, these reddish skinned people who look like the statue that my brother showed earlier.
How do you know they look like that statue?
Because that statue looks like the people on the walls, and the people on the wall look like the people in Socotra and Yemen today.
So with Egypt and the people on the walls, you don't think it's possible that some of those images may have been repainted and cast in a fairer shade?
No, I think
that's possible. I
think you do have facsimiles, and people try to reconstruct them and try to make it as realistic as it used to be. Like they try to sharpen it up, but I don't think some of the things that has been recreated isn't that far off. I don't think they're just whitewashing. I don't think.
And how can you be sure? How can you be sure they're not done that?
Because studying the modern Egyptians, like the people, the Sa'adis, the Felahim, the people of Gurner, the people of even, I'll even say Aswan, the people of even Lower Egypt, you know, who looks very close to Palestinians, or the Saadi people who look very close to people.
Wait. So you're going off studying modern Egyptians?
No. Listen to what I'm saying.
People that are about 3,500 years divorced from the ancient Egyptians.
No, listen.
Your conclusion.
Listen. Let me finish.
Just tell me what you said. You said you studied modern Egyptians.
Yes. I'm using
ancient Egyptians.
Yes. Listen to me.
I find that very strange.
No. I'll explain if you will let me, brother. So what I'm trying to say is, if I use a modern population as a reference, right? Looking at the genetics, the only population in the world that's closest to the ancient Egyptians are the modern Egyptians, especially the Coptics, right? So what I'm saying is that when you look at these people, they look like the people on the wall, even though they have slight integration, just like African Americans and Afro-Caribbean. You're from the UK. I'm sure your forefathers is either from the Caribbean somewhere. I don't know what island, but you're the same. You're the same as me. We're the same. Africans, Americans, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, we all got the same history coming from West and Central Africa. Let's just accept that. But we all have integration in us. Like you might have a little, I don't know if you have a little Indian ancestry from India, like a lot of our brothers in the Caribbean, and some Irish or British. You know, a lot of African Americans have a little British in them, but our overall DNA composition ranges at 70 to 80%. In some cases, some African Americans or Afro-Caribbeans can be 60 to 55% sub-Saharan African. But when you look at the African populations that we descend from, it's the same story. So when we talk about the people in Egypt, a lot of their DNA, whether it's the Coptics who are very closer to the ancient Egyptians that don't have that much Arab percentage from the integration, because all the Arabs really did when they even came in a later phase, they only reinserted that Natufian-like signal that the earlier Egyptian population had.
Facts. It was already there. So when y'all say, "Oh, modern Egyptians are Arabs," the ancient ones were related to Arabs too.
they would. And what they did, brother Yeshua, what they did was when the Arabs came in, they kind of slightly reduced that CHG signal that was already in them But CHG signal came in later because when you go back into the earlier phases, they were closer to Arabs anyway. It's in the Middle Kingdom when they increase in the CHG signals.
The caucus, the brother, he don't know what CHG is.
Hold up, like
CHG
you guys,
is Caucasus hunter gatherers, bro. So that's DNA from people from the Caucasus. You
gotta
know this. You have to know this, bro. People in ancient Egypt had DNA from the Caucasus Mountains.
Yes, they did.
Hold up 1 second. You guys are just trying to dump information that you guys like, but it's not really relevant to the point that we're trying to establish, right? We're going back to the origin of these Egyptians, because if you're talking about all of these different DNA signatures in who you call the ancient Egyptians, right? One thing you need to understand is if they've got a varied DNA signature, that means that their indigenous DNA had been penetrated, had been compromised. So that doesn't actually comprise what a true ancient Egyptian is. That comprises what maybe, according to you guys, Egyptians became when they started to mix with other people. But what I'm trying to take you back to is the foundation, the man Mitzrayim, who is the father of Egypt. And we've got his lineage in the Bible. There is no your Asian component. It's simply Noah and his wife. So wait,
let me get this
wait 1 second. Okay, so out of Noah and his wife, where is the your Asian component in the man Mitzrayim?
They're around. What are you talking about? They're in Turkey. They're in Anatolia. That's Eurasia.
Anatolia, Iran. Noah was the Eurasian. His wife was the They are the Eurasians.
Wait. Where does the Bible say that Noah comes from Turkey? Where does the Bible say that?
What did his ship crash?
That's what. Hey, if your ship crashes in Turkey, does that mean you come from Turkey?
But where did he come from before that? Even if you study the epics of Gilgamesh, the story falls around very close to Noah.
So see, now you're trying to appeal to a non-biblical source to try and support your preconceived notion that apparently, I guess, Noah's Ark came from Turkey and then it landed back in Turkey. But to be honest with the text doesn't tell us where Noah came from before the flood. It only tells us where the ark landed. If the ark landed somewhere, you can't call him a Asian because he's not from that region. That's where the boat landed.
Okay, what does Genesis 10 say the first kingdom was?
The first kingdom after the flood, they established it in Iraq and Babylon.
Okay, these people are Iraqi Caucasian people, Iranian Caucasian people. Nineveh is in Iran. Nimrod is in Iran. Akkad, Lesser Caucasus.
They were born in those regions. Noah wasn't born in those regions.
Hold on real quick, bro. The Bible is telling you that these people are trans-Caucasian people. So that's why you had that Caucasus hunter-gatherer DNA coming down in layers. What do you mean, no? So we will expect to see.
You're trying to impose your perspective, your modern.
This is what the Bible is saying.
On the biblical. No, it's not. Show me where the Bible says.
Where's Nineveh?
These people are Eurasian. The Bible tells us that Noah comes from a civilization divorced from Turkey, divorced from Babylon, a civilization that was flooded. It says nothing about, he came from Turkey, he came from Babylon.
So we go back in time.
You guys are asserting that.
If we go back
to the region where he came to post the flood. It's not where he's from.
So all the bodies that we found, we find bodies in these regions, right? And they test the damn DNA. None of it is Black African. None of it's Ghanaian, Nigerian. None of it's going back to Togo, Benin. None of it's going back to any sub-Saharan, even Dinka. It don't even go back to Dinkas, man.
What are you even talking about?
So here's the thing. We have to study
the relevance of what you're saying right now. You see, the problem is you filled up your heads with so much so-called secular information, which is only a bag of lies, that you're blinded to the truth. Like, look how simple the truth is, right? Let me just walk you through.
It's very simple. Nineveh is in Iran.
The brother Lion of the Sahel, right? He gave a full context of a full breakdown of his perspective, right? So let me just show you guys the simplicity of the truth. Because what he was saying was just going on and on. It's very convoluted, and it's a bunch of throwaway information. Because check this out. It's as simple as this. We've got Cush, right? Means black. His brother is Mitzrayim, Egypt, meaning the Egyptians would have looked just like their brother Cush. Now, if Cush is black, Ham is black. If Ham is black, Noah, Shem, Japheth is black. Now, Cush's son Nimrod is the father of Babylon, okay? So we know that the father of Iraq was a Cushite, just like the Sudanese. So that region of Iraq was all black initially. Then we see Canaan comes from Ham as well. He's one of the sons of Ham, meaning that whole region of the Levant, Canaan, was black. So that whole region, the Egyptians, all these ancient people look just like me. So when you come with this trash of, let me land with this, you come with this trash idea of, oh, we don't see any black DNA in these regions. Black DNA is not only West African DNA. Black DNA is not only Bantu Central African DNA. Black DNA is the original DNA of Mesopotamia, is the original DNA of Assyria, the original DNA of Canaan, of Turkey. These were different black peoples according to the Bible. And the only point, hold up, let me land. The reason why I jumped on your stage is to argue the afrocentric view of the Bible, that the chosen people of the Bible are a black people, like the ancient black people of the Levant, man. And that's what you can prove.
All right, so my question.
Hold on real quick. Yehuda, on the screen, that's an Iranian. Ain't nothing
in today's world.
Ain't nothing African about this little girl, bro. Nothing. She's East Indian. Hold on. She's East Indian and she's Iranian genetically. There's nothing about her that would compare her to you. Her ancestors would probably have this shade of skin, this type of physiognomical features and morphological features. But genetically, these people are completely separate. You're trying to lump everybody together based on their skin color, and that's not true.
You're creating a straw man. I never said they had the same genetic marker. I told you that these regions have black people just like West Africa, Central Africa, with completely different DNA because they're all different black peoples. I was saying that West Africa and Central Africa don't have the monopoly on the DNA of black people. So when you're saying to me, oh, in Turkey, in the Levant, we've got the DNA, it's not black African DNA, that doesn't mean that those people were not black, brother.
Yeah,
so the Balochi people of Iran, it's a unique story to them to know, what's going on with them. Very beautiful people. But I want to say, we have the DNA of the Canaanites. They know where they come from. And also all those flood stories, those flood stories are very heavy in those ancient Iran and Iraqi stories. It's definitely Iranian influence when you get to the story of Noah. That's where they was having most of the floods at. So you talked about, his story was talking about floods was coming. Most of that was happening in that area that my brother Yeshub and my brother Ibri's talking about. That's why it's important to study Near Eastern studies or the Middle or Mesopotamian studies, because you can see the influence of pre-biblical stories, or the influence that helped shape the biblical narrative. And you can tell that the people that gave birth to the biblical narrative descend from these people. Those people over there were their forefathers. They just drifted into the Levant and remixed the stories and kind of changed it a little bit later. But when you follow it, a lot of those stories is coming from that near Iraq-Iran zone. That's where most of the flood stories is coming from. When you study the ancient Canaanite fossils that they put out, 2021, 2018, and in 2022, it talks about where they come from. It talks about Iran, Neolithic Iranian, and pre-Armenian populations, which were the populations that made up for the Levant. Especially then when you study the Chalcolithic phase and the Bronze Age period, you can see when they dominate over the Levant. So you can see where these people are coming from in the story and how we get to where we are. And it also includes the population in Egypt. Because Cush and Medu Neter.
Before you move to that, let me push back on this whole notion
before you push back
of the flood stories.
Hold on.
Before you go to a different topic,
Before you push back, bro, I want to say something. In Medu Neter, according to the Egyptian narrative, Cush or Kishi, James P. Allen says it right here. The term Kish or Kushi means hot or heat. So the narrative of what the Egyptians said that Kush was, when they called the people of south of them wretched Kush or whatever, because they came from those borders, is totally different than what the Hebrews seen a Kushite as, right? So I just wanted to say that, but go ahead, bro.
So yeah, man. So when you come with this whole idea that the biblical authors came with the accounts of the region when it comes to the flood, they got their information from Babylon, from these regions that all have a strong culture that testifies of a flood, and that had the influence. It wasn't that the Bible has the unadulterated account. It's just something that was part of the geographical culture, right? this is the reason why I'll definitely push back on that, right? So when it comes to Genesis chapter 10, right? And let me see, there's actually chapter 11 and verse 1. It says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. So as we know, the first civilization post-flood was Babylon. So we're going to see a civilization that has the flood in their recent memory. We've got these people that are literally descendants of Noah. Every single person that had populated Babylon, had populated these ancient civilizations. They've got Noah, they've got Ham, they've got Japheth, they've got the patriarchs of the flood as their forefathers. So of course it's going to be common knowledge what has happened. It's going to be the biggest cultural event in their recent history. So we're going to find accounts of the flood everywhere. It doesn't mean that when Moses comes along, you know, later on, hundreds of years or even 1,000 years later, that, oh, Moses has just taken this as this was just the inherited story. No, Moses had got the direct testimony of the event from the Most High, because what we can see is amongst many different civilizations that testify of the flood, guess what? There's variations in their accounts showing that none of them have got a consensus on exactly how it went down. Everyone has their own little spin on things. So how do we know that the biblical account is the accurate account? Well, the Bible harmonizes it. It tells us, look, this is why God gave the flood, and post the flood, the ark landed in this region, which is very close to where the first civilization was post-flood. And then that also explains, okay, this is the reason why we get so many flood accounts, because all of these people had it in their recent memory. And when God scattered the people into different lands, they all took their flood account with them. But now they've got different languages separating the account. And now they've got different cultures, which are going to also have an influence on the account. So, yeah, this is why I definitely push back on the notion that, oh, it's just an amalgamation of the local culture, what we see in the Bible. The Bible's just borrowed from the Epic of Gilgamesh, etc. No, the Bible's given the account of the event from God's perspective.
Okay, so now I want to chime in real quick. So earlier you was talking. Wait, is there something you want to say? Shoot.
I just want to say something real quick, because we've already broken this idea of this Hamite thing, because the people you call Cushing Sudan are not related to this little girl right here. They're not. They're not. But you said they're all Hamites. They're not. Go ahead, Ivory. Go.
Yeah, so earlier you was talking about there's different types of black people, and that, you know, back then, you know, when it came to all these different groups in the Near East, that they were all black, and you had black people in this area and black people in that area. And also you said that there's different types of black DNA. It's not all just concentrated in West and Central Africa. That's not where the only black people are at. That black DNA is in all these other different areas. So first I want to understand from you, are you using skin color to differentiate between people groups, you know, blackness and stuff like that? How do you do that? And what do you mean by different types of black DNA? What DNA are you talking about when you say black DNA? And how do you differentiate between black people, since there's different types? How do you do that?
So here's how I differentiate. Yeah, the Bible, yeah, is what I stand on, because the Bible says we speak as the oracles of God. So when it comes to different black DNA, here's the paradigm for that. So Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8 says, when the Most High divided the nations their inheritance. So nations is equivalent to saying the word race, right? So there's different races, there's different nations, yeah? Now, what we can see in the Bible is in Genesis 10, when we see the first record of God dividing nations, we can see we've got the nation of Canaan, we've got the nation of Mizraim, Egypt, and Cush. So these are different black races. These are different black nations, yeah? And what we can see is with time, you know, their DNA today is different. They're different races. Like, for example, the Sudanese, like the brother at the top mentioned, yeah, if he's done the studies, he sees the Sudanese DNA is different to this girl's DNA, right? They're both black people. Sudanese are black. She's black. So when I come into this term black as well, right? The word Kush means black. in the book of Acts chapter 13, one of the prophets was called black. So black just means your skin color. All right. So yes, we've got different people with black skin color, but they are from different nations, because the biblical nations initially were all black. And we can see in the world today, when we test the DNA in these different regions, such as Iran or Sudan, we see they have different DNA, but they can be equally black, or they might have a different pigment due to admixture. For example, if I tested like some of the people living in Brazil, some of the indigenous people in the Amazon are black. They weren't taken over there in slavery. They're just black, remote people. The indigenous people there are black, but their DNA is not going to be the same as black people in West Africa. And then like the black Indians that you'll see that live, and the cannibals, if you take their DNA, they are black, yeah, in complexion, but their DNA is different because they are different nations. They have black skin, different nations. We have similar features, you know, Afro textured hair, but yeah. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, because you mentioned DNA quite a bit, what part of the DNA do you mean when you say different types of black DNA? Because you're not being clear. You're not telling me what are we even looking at when it comes to the DNA that differentiates this black person from that black person. Because you are saying DNA, but give me some examples. Like, are you talking about Y chromosomes, empty DNA?
So I'm talking about autosomal DNA, right? The DNA in general that comprises a person, right? So when we're talking about autosomal DNA, that is subject to also the region that you live in, because whatever region you live in is subject to just the nature of civilization, where in a certain region, these people in this area, their DNA's autosomal is going to be comprised of different influences based upon the surrounding people, or whether or not they was conquered by so-and-so. For example, like this little Iranian girl right here, yeah, she's not going to look like the Asian Assyrians or the Asian Persians, because Persia has been a massive empire in the past, which means it's pulled in a bunch of people that they've conquered, and also people that have wanted to conquer them, such as you had the Greeks come over there. You've had all kinds of people, you know, in the time of Xerxes, you had all the way from India. It was an empire that comprised of, you know, many different people that would all intermix with each other. So her autosomal DNA right now, she's still black, because you can see just by her genetic expression in the way she appears, the black is still the dominant, because you can still see the Afro textured hair, you can still see the dark red complexion skin, but her autosomal DNA would make her a different kind of black to a black Sudanese, where the black Sudanese people, you know, even though they've had, you know, the Greeks and the influence of the different DNA types and different people coming into that region, we can see just by their genetic expression, the Sudanese, a lot of the time, they're still very dark skinned. However, you get some Sudanese that are more Arab looking based upon their black DNA, then being compromised by some Arab DNA. And that Arab DNA as well was initially black, but those Arabs had their own empire where they conquered many Europeans, and they ended up mixing with many Europeans. So their DNA, you know, obviously became influenced by, you know, the white DNA, and that's why many Arabs today are brown skin. They're not black like they used to be. So that's what I'm saying.
White
Well,
DNA. White DNA. Everybody you're talking about, they're related to lighter skinned people. Like this little girl is related to lighter skinned Iranian people that are pale, people that you would call having the white DNA. They have the same autosomal signatures. So that's what I said. Okay, so
no, I'm trying to lead somewhere.
Sense.
That's what I said. I said because Asian Iran has had so many people come. Her DNA is going to be comprised of all the different people that have come into her land. And when they come into her land, they're coming into her DNA as well, because the people would have mixed. But we can see predominantly.
Whoa. You mean her? We mean their land as well, because those surrounding Iranians are a toxin. Oh, what do you mean? No, they're not toxinous to Iranians.
They are the invaders, because if it was their land.
I'm trying to leave him somewhere to shoot. Hold on. I'm trying to.
All right. I got to bring him back to this. I'm going to tell you right now. Put a pin in it. I'm going to bring you right back to this. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me handle this. I got this. So when it comes to somebody like this, in terms of black DNA, and also you mentioned autosomal, so we're getting somewhere here. You're talking about autosomes. So this girl, would you say that she is, she's a black autosomal person, or a black person, a person with black autosomes?
Well, yeah, definitely. She still got that indigenous black autosomal DNA, which she got from Noah, which she got from, her distant relatives. However, what we can also see is she's also sharing the autosomal DNA of other cultures as well by her hair texture as well.
Okay, so what type of black would you say she is? Like an African black, like sub-Saharan African black autosomal DNA?
Well, it would be hard to tell because people like her, they can pop up in many different regions because it just depends which people have had access to her, and which history. For example, in South Africa, we know a lot of Indians came down there for trade, or when it comes to like Tanzania, a lot of Arabs came down there because of the slave trade. So the people there are going to have a more ambiguous, a more varied autosomal DNA. So I can't just look at someone and just tell you what they're a byproduct of, but what comes out most striking straight away is that, dominant indigenous black DNA that she's got. Because obviously the DNA is your code, and it's coded her skin to be black. So it's black DNA. That is the most predominant thing you see on this person.
Interesting. Okay. So with that being said, I'll just tell you who this girl is. She is an Australian Aboriginal. So genetically speaking, and autosomally speaking, she is not African. She's not sub-Saharan African like, Bantu or West African, etc. She's actually genetically 100% Eurasian and has no type of genetic autosomal connection to sub-Saharan Africans. And by the way, here's basically a chart breaking down the human genome in terms of DNA and autosomes, because that's what we're talking about is autosomes. So you have basically 5 different major autosomal breakdowns for African populations, which is Northern Khoisan, Southern Khoisan, Central African foragers, which are pygmies, West Africans and East Africans, and then you have non-Africans. And when it comes to these human populations, when we're talking about autosomes, it's already mapped out. The human genome's already mapped out when it comes to the autosomal breakdown of people. Whether somebody has West African autosomes like Yoruba, or whether somebody has pygmy autosomes like the Bayaka pygmies, or Khoisan autosomes like the Hottentots and stuff like that. So to say that just because someone has dark skin like her means that she has black autosomes, and even that term black autosomes really doesn't make sense. You can have people who are completely dark skinned and have autosomes that are not sub-Saharan African, that are not East African.
I never said black autosomes are sub-Saharan, brother. I said black autosomes come from, pay attention, they come from Ham, Shem, Japheth, and Noah, right? I don't use the modern classifications for autosomes because they're just using modern civilizations that they believe they can trace, brother. I'm coming from the true God-sent biblical paradigm, knowing that the Bible declares Cush was a black man, Mizraim, his brother, was black, Ham, his father, must have been black, so Noah was black. So I know that our DNA has an expression in our face. So at the end of the day, yeah, if these people in the Bible are black, right, their DNA that we carry today would be black DNA. Okay,
exactly.
unless it's been repressed. So all I'm saying, when I say that girl has some black DNA, you kind of seem to interpret that as, oh, he's saying she must have some sub-Saharan DNA. I never said that sub-Saharan Africa has got the monopoly on black DNA, brother. Black DNA we even had that discussion before, are the indigenous people of the whole earth, because that's what the Bible testifies, and even you understand that. So why are we taking it to sub-Saharan? Like, where's that coming from?
So the question is then, what is black DNA? Can you show me black DNA in a in a tube? Like, what is black DNA? What is black autosomal DNA?
Okay. So let me go to Genesis chapter 10 and give you the answer.
No, I mean, like, you use the word DNA, so show me DNA, not a scripture. Show me actual black DNA.
So check it out, right? Scripture is the word of the Most High. I hear what you're saying, G, And I'm not gonna answer in that way, innit? You know, I'm gonna answer in this way. So
You can't substantiate your claim.
no,
even
no, no.
outside the Bible.
I can substantiate it. You just think I have to substantiate it in that way that you want me to present it, as if I can give you some kind
Well,
of
you don't
example.
think God
of,
gave you the tools?
okay,
to prove outside the Bible?
this is the sample. These are the components of black DNA. Here's a cited study on it. Here's an experiment. These are the, you know what I'm saying? You want me to come from that paradigm, but I'm
No,
showing
what I
you.
want you to do is
Go ahead.
be able to prove it, because God, you know, you should be able to prove things even without the Bible.
What? Where does it say prove things without the Bible? If I'm proving something from a biblical paradigm,
But
yeah,
you said black DNA.
my whole premise, because you understand, brother, I'm a man of God, right? The Bible says that I should minister according to the ability I serve, according to the ability God's given me. I speak as the words, oracles of God. 1 Peter 4:11.
Yeah, I believe in the Bible too, and I can still prove stuff outside the Bible. Like, for instance, I believe in the Bible, and I believe that men are men and women are women. All this trans stuff is mental illness. So I can prove in the Bible that men are men, you know, descend from Adam, and women are women, descend from Eve. But I can also prove outside the Bible by looking at genetics. Like, for instance, I can look at the Y chromosome. Y chromosomes passed down from father to son, to unbroken line. Women have 2 X chromosomes. Women can pass on their X chromosome to their son or daughter, and men can only pass down their Y chromosome to their son. So I can use genetics. I can use things outside of the Bible to prove biblical points. So that's what I'm asking for you to do. Prove what this black DNA is outside of the Bible. Like, I can prove who a woman is or a man is outside of the Bible using genetics.
So just because we have the ability to make points outside of the Bible, right, doesn't mean that I have to do that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm asking you. You don't have to, but I'm asking you. I'm you know, you're
but I'm telling you that this is how I make my points, because when I follow the Most High, brother, yeah, the Bible has told me to give the words of truth to those that are sent to me in the book of Proverbs 22:17, going down to verse 21. So you know, everyone follows God differently, right? Some people follow God 80%, some people follow him 50%. I try to follow him 100%. This is God's word, right? So if I'm going to try and give any proof, yeah, you can't beat the word of God, brother. So if I'm going to prove to you black DNA, you can't refute the word of God. This is where I come from, brother. Everything else is subject to what's the word, man? You can push back. You know, things can change. The Bible will change.
I get what you're saying. You cannot substantiate your proof outside the Bible. That's all I hear. Because I can.
Well, if that's how you want to interpret it, you know, you're free to interpret it that way. But all I'm saying is my whole point so far, my whole premises have been built upon the Bible. So for you not to take me out of the Bible is redundant, because the whole thing that I'm doing is I'm validating an afrocentric perspective from the Bible. So why would I go anywhere else? That's not even the reason why I've come up here, brother. I don't give a damn about anything else other than the Bible, brother.
All right, so I guess then proving the Bible, black autosomal DNA, even though autosomal DNA is not mentioned in the Bible, but that's what I'm asking.
So effectively, autosomal DNA, right, is just the various components that make a person, you know, who they are. It's just which DNA they've got from various different places, which comprises them as a person. All right, and it tells you like how much of this they are. So if the Bible tells you, like, for example, it gave you say Esau's son. Esau had a son with Ishmael's daughter. So from that, would I not be able to get the autosomal DNA that, oh, so Esau's son has the autosomal DNA of Ishmael's daughter and of Esau, and Ishmael's daughter comprises of Egypt and Hebrew, because Ishmael his mother was Hagar, an Egyptian. Like, brother, you can still take this autosomal logic and apply it to the Bible, brother. This here says what? Autosomal, non-African, East African. These are all modern terminologies, brother. I'm dealing with an ancient Bible. This is not sufficient to deal with the ancient people of the Bible. I have to go to the ancient names, the ancient people.
Yeah, but the Bible doesn't tell you what the autosomal DNA of Ishmael is, right, or Esau. So, like, what are you?
So the Bible is not sufficient for this conversation.
It does. It may not go into, you know, the depth of saying, oh, what percentage of this they had, but it tells you like their lineage and the different nations
But you did say
that
one thing that
comprise
was,
to make them who
you
they
said
are.
one thing that was interesting though. You said that when it comes to Ishmael, his mother was Egyptian, and that's funny because we did test Egyptian samples, and if what you're saying is true, this would mean that Ishmael's mother, who's Egyptian, will likely have a large amount of Natufian ancestry, and this means that when Hagar got with Abraham to have Ishmael, Ishmael will also have Natufian ancestry, just like other Arabs and Egyptians. And Abraham himself could have had a substantial amount of Natufian ancestry as well. So, if you
Where does the scripture say that Ishmael had Natufian ancestry? Where does it say that?
Well, it would be saying that indirectly in the sense that Egyptians have Natufian ancestry. Like when we test their bodies, ancient Egyptian bodies, and you said Hagar is an Egyptian. Well, when we look at the Egyptian bodies, they're pretty much Natufian overall in their genome.
Natufian, Anatolian, Caucasian, Iranian, and I also want to address
So wait, these Egyptian bodies, what are they dating back to?
I'll
let you handle that, Jashub. I got to take care of something. I mean, I'm going to be.
Well, anyway, I'm gonna leave it there.
Hold on, before you leave. Hold on, brother. Before you leave, like I said, this girl that you see on the screen, the Balochi people, when you look at them on a PCA chart, a PCA chart is comparing all of the autosomes. She is closely related to all her surrounding people, the Afghanistan, the Pathan, the Saraki people, the Koistani people. All of these people are related to the Balochi people. These people are the original inhabitants of the Iranian plateau. No matter what they look like, you can shake your head. They have the ancestry.
When you're interpreting data, it's like you just look at it this way to try and come to your conclusion, but you don't put the context on it to really understand what exactly is going on. So it's like you're missing all of the real information, brother. What you need to understand is all of these different people are not indigenous to that region. You know why, brother? Because they're all different people, bro. There was an indigenous people of that region, man. The Assyrians or the Persians, the biblical Persians. And what we need to learn about these people is they became an empire. According to the Bible, if you go to the book of Esther, it says they had like over 100 and something provinces when there was an empire. So if you've got an empire, brother, you understand that the capital or the original place which expanded, it ends up drawing and has a polarity on all of the places that they've conquered. You understand that, right? That all of these people from separate cultures and of separate lineages, separate DNA, they all end up coming into the place where which conquered them. You understand that, right?
I understand that, but
so ancient Iran. So hold up. So when ancient Iran conquered, so when ancient Iran conquered, brother, do you think that the indigenous people of Iran, their DNA then started to have different people come and mix with them? Do you think that's what then would have happened? That the indigenous Iranians started to mix with these people that had now become part of their empire?
The indigenous Iranian mixed with who? The Persians? Who are we talking? They are the Persians.
They would have mixed with the Greeks. They were conquered by the Greeks. They would have mixed with the Indians. Ancient Iran, conquered India. They would have mixed with the Ethiopians. They conquered Ethiopia. So they would have mixed with the people of the Levant. They conquered the Levant. Do you agree that the Iranians would have mixed with all of those?
Yeah, had small layers of this. We're not talking about the major ancestors.
But wait, how long ago did this happen? It happened a very long time, right?
Okay. Yes, the Persians is about what, 600 or 7th century, 6th century.
Yeah.
But here's the issue.
Let me land with this. Do you not think that
issue, bro?
Go ahead.
The issue is the people are relating to the early Iranian hunter-gatherer. That's before the Persians. We're talking Stone Age.
All that Stone Age stuff is a bunch of crap, man. It's all lies, bro.
Well, the point is,
Stone Age. Show me Adam using stones, G.
Okay, cool. What we can show you is the people that are buried in the Hotu cave. These early Iranians match with the modern population of Iranians. That's called a continuity. I know you know you sound smart. You know what a continuity means. That means that population has been there since the Stone Age. all the way to modern era.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the indigenous people have completely vanished. I'm just saying that, you know, they've been influenced
You're saying the
by
white
the
people,
cultures
white
that
people
have come into their land, and also they've been influenced. Their DNA's been influenced by the people that have come into their land that they've admixed.
You're saying white people came in and took over, basically, is what you're saying.
It's not true.
Yeah, it's the same as, like, for example, right? I live in England, right? So England would have been more homogenous maybe like 700 years ago or 1,000 years ago. You won't, but right now, if I go out there, bro, it's like spot the white guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a bunch of Pakistanis, Indians, black people, Chinese, and then people are mixing. So even the indigenous people start to look a bit different as well. You know what I'm saying? This is just what happens. And if it's like this now, right? England, say in 1,000 years from now, or say 2,000 years, because we're like 2,700 years removed from ancient Persia being an empire. You know, it's going to be hard to find just a pure white person, a pure indigenous British. I'm not even saying that indigenous British people are white, but if they were, you know, their DNA, you're going to see British DNA in there, and they might have a majority still, but they're going to look a bit different because that's just what happens, G.
All right, so
when you show me this girl here and you say, oh, but all the people around her have the same DNA, and she ain't got any DNA of the black so-called Israelites in Africa or whatever it may be, you just have to also understand that, yo, bro, it's just like, look at the regions that were close to her. What was the history of her place? They brought all these other nations. They brought all this DNA. That's not the history of Africa.
Now I got a big question for you. I see Moore jumping on stage. I gotta say this really quick. What's up, Moore? When do you think "quote unquote" white people popped up on the scene, like white skin?
Oh Lord.
So with white people, right, in the book of Leviticus, it shows that white skin is something that is not typical. It's something that is like is a sign of a curse. Like when God made Miriam white, it was a sign of a curse in Numbers chapter 12. If you read Numbers 12 and like verse 11, it was very frowned upon. Or Leviticus 13, it says yellow hair. Verse 31 is a sign of leprosy. So we can see that white skin is not the natural disposition of man. The Bible doesn't tell us when white people became white or whatnot. So I don't know. I just know that it's a sign that these people were cursed by God. And how we know which people became the white people, when we go to the book of Daniel and Zechariah, it says that the Greeks in Hebrew are known as Javan. Javan's the son of Japheth. So the Japhite lineage in the Bible is the lineage that we can see noticeable white people coming from. Even Kittim comes from Japheth as well. And I believe Kittim is like understood to be Rome. So I just know that some of Japheth's lineage, they were black originally, and then today they're white. It's a mystery. But when they became white, what we can see through just history, like the Bible says, you know them by their fruit. We can look in the world and we can see, okay, there's a bunch of white people now, and there's a bunch of brown people. So I can see that these white people clearly mixed with a bunch of people, and that's why not everyone's black like they used to be. Now you've got black, white, and the mixed people, like the Chinese are half black and half white because they're brown. The Pakistanis are half black and white, half white because they're brown. You know, so
white people just end up dominating the planet, is what you're saying.
Yeah, man, like they did their thing, innit? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So with that being said, do you consider black genes to be the dominant? Like,
so when it comes to dominant genes, right? Like I just say dominant black genes because I'm black and I like to say dominant. But at the same time, like, you know, with branchiamento in Brazil, it proves that, you know, you can easily wipe out black genes just by mixing in like 3 generations. But it goes both ways. So if a black person mixed into a white lineage, which he shouldn't because it's a sin, Deuteronomy 7, we can only marry Israelites if you're black Israelite.
Whoa, what?
But
no, let him finish. Let him finish.
All right, go.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 7, First Kings
done.
11, etc. But I'm just saying, if a black person married other nationalities and then those kids married black again, the kids will become black. But if a black person married like a Chinese and then that kid married a Chinese, after a while, it's going to be indistinguishable. You know, you're going to look like a Chinese person. So I don't believe anyone's genes are really more dominant. Well, to be honest, in a sense, because once you have a mixed black baby, the child's got rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time.
Interesting. So with that being said, my last statement and question is this. So if most people were black on the planet, Shem and Ham, they're both black, their descendants are black. And Japheth also was one point black in his descendants, but then some of his descendants turned white. Then how come they didn't just turn back to black once they started mixing with black people? When the black genes wiped out the few white people that existed, and they just all would have, the descendants would just became black anyways.
So like I said in it, like I don't know when they became white. All I know is that there was a lineage. The lineage of Javan is white today. The lineage of Kittim and Japheth is white today. And I'm not saying that just one person was turned white, because that just wouldn't make sense. If you got one white person and then they're gonna be mixing with black people, it's gonna.
That's why I said a few. Like let's say 1,000 people from Japheth's lineage turned white. There's still like probably 1 million people that descend from Ham and Shem that are black. And if they mix with if 1,000 white people mix with 1 million black people, descendants are going to end up looking. I mean, in your ideology, the black genes are going to dominate and end up being more black looking.
Well, I never said that the black genes are like super dominant like that. I said you can easily wipe out black genes just like you can wipe out any other gene, bro.
Right, but you also said like when it comes to, and by the way, I'll let you Shubin more jump in here when I'm done. But you also kind of said like when there's a lot of black people, like they can actually their genes would be like you said something about the mixed people. They're even mixed people kind of gravitate more towards, I guess, the blackness or whatever.
No, I wouldn't say they gravitate towards the blackness, because a lot of mixed people, they gravitate towards the other cultures because they see we're doing better. You know what I'm saying? And they marry those cultures. I'm just saying that the mixed people usually, like, they're more likely to have like rhythm. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Yeah, man. They're gonna have a bit of the flavor, man.
I'm done.
You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have a bit of that black flavor. You know what I'm saying? So maybe dominant in that sense, but nothing too crazy.
Did Obama have that? No,
yeah, he did. He did, and that's how he deceived us, man.
Oh man. Hey, you keep watching us. We're gonna help you get up out of that, bro. I promise you, I'm gonna try to help you.
You could never do that, man.
I'm gonna help you get out of this Hebrew Israelite.
I ain't trying to go to hell, man. I'm in a very comfortable position.
This is Lucifer. You know you're talking to Lucifer, right? The light bringer.
You're the king of Babylon, yeah. Well, you know what happens to the king of Babylon? He gets cast down to the earth because he was so prideful. He thought he was the shining star. He had all the wisdom. He thought he had all the knowledge. But he gets cast down to the grave with the rest of the wicked, bro. So if that's the fate that you're trying to manifest, brother, if you're trying to have a self-fulfilling prophecy, that's on you, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they Satan. He's Satan. I'm Satan. You're right. I'm the great adversary. I was brought here to bring pain and hell, fire, and brimstone on you niggas. Right? It's just that simple, man. Hey, you ran them off, bro. Damn.
You ran him off with that.
No, I did. I didn't play that clip. Y'all did that. He ran him off. I seen him hitting the button.
Yeah, my finger slipped out. My fault.
Oh, that was you more? Okay.
Yeah, you ran him off. I was about to go in on the package.
That's always me, bro. Hitting that clip, bro.
Yeah, he hurried up and got up out of here, man. But yeah, man, look. Y'all ain't got no leg to stand on. I hope the brother keep watching the channel and he learns to wean himself from Black Hebrew Israelite ideology. None of that stuff made any sense. You can't claim that these people are all Ham. These people were all Ham, but they don't share the same Y chromosome DNA, so that makes no sense either. Just saying they're black doesn't make any sense because dark-skinned people exist here and there, and then trying to say, well, they got black DNA. But that didn't make any sense because the people in Iran, those Balochi people are related to all of the lighter-skinned people around them. They actually cluster tight to these people. That's what I put in the chat here. The Hazara population of Pakistan was tightly clustered with local, Baloch, Aryan, and Pathan. These are not Afro slaves. These are people that literally have their origin in the Iranian plateau. He keeps saying, no, yes, they do. they match the people that are in the ground before them. That's how they're able to, determine these things. So whether they're dark or white don't mean shit. Doesn't mean anything. You're not saying anything. I wish the brother would stay on. I was trying to educate him on that. I wanted to show him.
I'll put the
using-
link back in the chat. Maybe he'll join. He might.
I wanted to show him the Balochi example because we were talking about Iranians. We're talking about these people coming from Iran. I'm saying, whether you call them dark, whether you call them white or whatever, these people are similar. They got haplogroup L, haplogroup R, haplogroup C2. None of this shit ties them to not Egyptian, but no Sudanese, Kushite, Nubian kingdom. None of it. So it's like, no, you're grasping at straws because you're trying to make this into something it's not. You put paint where it ain't. You put paint where it ain't, bro. So Yehuda, man, I hope you learn, bro. I hope you learn. I know I spooked you when I told you I was Lucifer. But I am the light bringer, man. Y'all living in darkness, bro. I'm trying to bring y'all to light. Fire Talk says, I still didn't get an answer from weeks ago. What do you brothers identify as? Years ago, Yeshua identified as Israelite. Is that correct? Yes, I used to. I do not. I no longer do. I am not a part of that cult. I'm done with it. Been done with it. I thought I answered that a couple times on live. I've been alluding to that for about a year or two. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me see what else we got in the chat. Man, because them scary ass niggas didn't show up. It was supposed to be some people that was talking all this bullshit about ancient Egypt, and they was gonna prove ancient Egypt was sub-Saharan African. And once again, my friend, these motherfuckers never show up. They don't want to show up. They are afraid of the information. And that's why I at least applaud Yahuda for coming up here. He came up here, he stood his ground. He came with whatever he had, which we know is nonsense at the end of the day, but he came with it and he stood on it. So what more can you say? What more can you ask?
Yeah. But Fire Talk Radio Podcast, are you the guy from my YouTube channel that was in the comments asking about what I identify as in terms of like ethnicity and religion and stuff like that? I can't remember if you're the guy from my comments, but tell me if you are, and I'll give you the answer. But go ahead, Yeshua. Remember, I left that screenshot in our chat, Yeshua.
Was that him?
Tell him he can. Oh, I'm asking to see if that's him.
I don't know. I don't know. But, this is an interesting paper on the Balochi people for anybody that's trying to make this white invader. These are white invaders. Look at all these haplogroups in these people, man. T, C2, O1B, R2, G, R1A, J1A, H1, N1A. If you go down, it will tell you the specific populations here in these regions, including the Balochi, and it will tell you that the main haplogroup here in Pakistan was C2. This is the most frequent haplogroup in the Pakistani Afghan Hazaras. And then when you go down, it talks about the Balochi people having a haplogroup R clip in the Pakistani branch around 36%. The Pakistani Hazara. And then, the Balochi population is 36% and 22% in the Pakistani Hazara and 21.15% Afghani Hazara. So they share the same fathers. So how are you trying to divvy these people up? Huh?
You're not even showing the paper.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I just put it on there for you.
Wait, what happened?
It was showing my screen.
Oh my God, man! You
Hey,
got my.
I warned you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's just frustrating.
It's on now.
It's frustrating because I'm reading it and I'm thinking I'm showing it. Anyway, so you can clearly see that these people that are tightly clustered together. So it's not just a shared autosomal and admixture, which is on the population level. It's also a shared male ancestral lineage amongst these groups. So the Balochi people and the Pakistani Hazara, just because they look different from a morphological standpoint, and they have a different gradation of skin color, doesn't mean any damn thing. They both share the same common ancestors. So I'm trying to tell this nigga. That's literally what I was trying to tell him, Reed. But
Yep.
I want to educate him, so he can begin to wean himself. I know it's not going to be overnight. Begin to wean himself from the hours and hours of YouTube crap that he got from Black Hebrew Israelite camps and Black Hebrew Israelite demagogues.
You think this would make sense though, because I'm assuming he believes that Esau is a white man and that Jacob is not, but they still have like the same descendancies. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, he believes that Japhet, some weird Japhet morph into whiter people. That's what I was getting from what he was saying. It was so confusing.
Okay, so either or, right? Like, so let's say that's how he runs with it, right? Okay, so at one point, you got people who are black and people who are white having the same paternal descent, though. No matter how you slice it in that model. So, like,
yep. But the issue that he's going to run into is he's saying that these people are Ham, the ones that are black, I guess, are Ham. So how do you connect these people with other groups that's all the way in Ethiopia or in Kush or whatever, or Nubia or Sudan? How do you do that? They got different paternal ancestry.
By the power of my interpretation of the
That's
Bible.
it. The imagination. Yeah, that's it. You just have to imagine and suspend, like you say, more suspend reality.
Who's Dan?
Don Yehuda.
Oh, Don, my bad.
Everybody Yehuda. We just had another. Is this the same Yehuda?
No, this ain't the same Yehuda.
Who is this?
What's good, everybody?
What's happening?
jeez.
This Fire Talk Radio. They wouldn't let me load up my thing because I'm at work right now. So, but yeah, I just wanted to hop on because I was asking these questions because I've been following the channel for some years. I've interacted with the brother Yeshua through comments and stuff before, interjected some info. I took a lot of info from the pages, but as my comment said, I've been off the channel for the better part of the year just to, life and everything. But once I came back, seeing everything was still flowing, the whole narrative was a little different. So that's why I was asking, like, what was the understanding? Because when I was originally watching, y'all wasn't quite in depth in the DNA at the time. You was really still bringing out source material. That's when you was doing the source leagues and stuff like that. So coming back now, I'm like, okay, it seemed a little different. So I was just wondering, what was the ideology and everything. And I'm kind of piecing it together just from, watching some of the videos now, seeing the information you're putting out with the genealogy and the DNA and things of that nature. So I was just wondering, like, what was everybody's stance? What did people identify as? Because I know a lot of people don't agree with the whole Hebraic narrative and the ideology of that. The brothers on there giving his insight from a biblical perspective. And I know that in certain conversations, you can't just uphold that. And somebody.
We lost you. Don Yehuda.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, just to round it out, I just wanted to know, like, since you don't identify as an Israelite right now, which is totally understandable, what was the premise of coming to that understanding, and what is it that you identify now? Is it due mainly to what your DNA test stated, or is there some other underlying information to where you identify or align with at this moment?
All right. So what was the determining factor to let go of all of that, all of the identitarian claims, all of the Israelite stuff? The short answer is none of those claims could withstand empirical scrutiny. What that means is I could not prove those things out with evidence. Everything is pretty much a dead end evidence wise. Most of the stuff, most of the claims, for example, Deuteronomy 28:68, claiming that people that came on a slave ship are somehow all Israelites. That makes no sense at all, because the people that would have been enslaved, they would have been mainly West Central African, with some East Africans there as well later on and early on. Some North Africans as well. You would have had a mixture of people there. They would have not all been sons of Jacob. So that's just one example. That's one example. But further examination of all of these claims and comparing it to evidence, not to opinion or thought or what people would like the truth to be, just basing it on hard, concrete facts. None of it could withstand it. So I did what a responsible adult would do, and that's drop it.
Okay. And that's totally understandable. I dig it. So would you say that you completely throw that narrative out, or do you believe that there are some people that may fit that narrative?
Fit the narrative of being what? The
biblical narrative.
In what aspect? I know the Bible has historical aspects in it. For example, King Jehu existed. He had a kingdom, and what we call the northern, the northern kingdom of Israel. That's factual. Most of the kings listed in the Bible are factual. So I would never say that stuff is not right. But what I will push back and contest against is the interpretation. Like tonight, we had an interpretation of Genesis 10 somehow promulgating a message of people all being the same or being black, or I completely disagree with that stuff. That is modern mythos and modern myth making.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another thing, because just listening to the conversation, and I know a lot of people kind of just like mash it all together, is when they're using the modern term black, here in America, as we all know, that a lot of people identify black with just a nationality type of stance. When you talk to a lot of brothers or other people from other countries that resemble us over here, and you say that they emphatically denounce being black, they're going to identify with their geographical location, their tribe names, or whatever the case may be. So with that being stated, do you think there's an issue as far as just the understanding? Because the brother was trying to align, like I kind of understood what he was saying, but it was from more of a phenotype stance versus the genotype, which you guys were trying to tell him, like, okay, the DNA markers state this, that, and the third. Whereas he was coming from just a phenotype with the Negroid look, the Negroid hair, the phenotypical features. So do you find that to be like a real problem within our community over here in America when we try to associate ourselves with various people from various locations, particularly with the biblical narrative of us being of the tribe of Judah or of Israel?
Yes, it's a huge problem, because what they will do is they will comb references for black people or people that are described as Negro, dark skin, or they will look at people like I was told the other day, Cheddar Man is proof that we travel to Europe. No, it's not. Cheddar Man is a completely distinct person that's outside, that exists outside of what we know as West African ancestry. So it is a huge problem. It's called lookership. The little girl on the stream is not related. It's not related to West Central Africans or African Americans by and large. This little girl is autochthonous to the Iranian plateau. So no, you can't just look at somebody and say, oh, I think they're dark, so therefore there's a connection between the two, or just automatically assume that, oh, these people were slaves. That's the other half of it. These people were sent here during the Arabic or the Ottoman occupation, and this is the results of that. No, these people have been there for a long time. And just because you see someone with a similar skin color or gradation of skin does not tell you that, does not tell you their ancestry and who they're connected to. That alone doesn't tell you anything. You got to look at the DNA. You got to look at the ancestry. You got to look at the autosomal DNA. And a lot of these places, we're now able to connect these people to the ancient people that were there, the ancient bones, the ancient samples. That's the proper way of doing it. Just going in the scripture and saying like, oh, Cush means black, so we know that all these people, that don't tell you nothing. Or, oh, this scripture right here says Judah was black unto the ground, even though that's misread and misinterpreted. That don't tell you anything at all. All of that is, all you're getting is a nothing burger. Go ahead, brother.
Right. So I'm just gonna land me back to the other question, because you was kind of asking me a reference further to kind of expound on it, which was, do you believe that there are a group of people that are actually what is biblically known as Israelites? And the second part to that question is, would the term Israelite be more of a ethnic generated word versus a national generated word? Meaning, do you believe that, biblically speaking now, because the topic when I came in was kind of between biblical understanding and genetic understanding, is that, would you consider the people that in the Bible that are considered Israelites are not genetically what you would call an Israelite, because they came from a genetic stock before that point, as mentioned that, Jacob's name was changed and this is how they got that moniker. And so that is more of an ethnic oriented word versus a nationality or a native word to those people?
It's both. The answer is both. And what I mean by both is there's a genetic component, because these people are toxins to the Levant region, right? And these people are also allowing people to join them. That's the second part. So yes, it's genetic, but it's also like you said, ethnic, which deals with social interaction and acculturation and allowing the absorption of other people. So that's why from the biblical perspective, it talks about them as being a mixed multitude. When they get to Canaan, they absorb the Canaanite populations there. Once they, in Judges 3 and 5, they mix with the sons and daughters. Oh, the scripture says not to do it. It doesn't matter. You told your son not to put his hand on that stove. Guess what? He burnt himself. So that's what happened. They went and they mixed with those people. They added more people within amongst them. That's why during the time of David, they got Ammonites amongst them, Moabites. They got Japhites amongst them. They absorbed a lot of people. So this would have been a multinational tribe of people. This would not have been. It would have been a meta population, a population within a population. This would not have been a racially pure, ethnically pure people. They would allow people in there, right? But you did have a people group that started it all, right? And these people that started it all are most likely your E1, B1B, and Natufians, descendants of the Natufians, the descendants of your pre-pottery people, and the people coming down from the Caucasus Mountains, which are J1 and J2 markers. The first ever Israelite marker known is J2. The mitochondrial DNA is like T1A. That's related to like European hunter-gatherers and stuff. So, yes, there is a genetic component of actual Israelites. It's probably related to Canaanite. And the second part is they would allow anybody to join their ranks. So hopefully that answers your question.
No, that totally answered my question. I mean, I was kind of thinking that along those lines, because I do a lot of reading and I listen to a lot of brothers and sisters online, and I just try to take a little bit of information. It's better to listen to a varied amount of information and kind of compare, kind of like textual comparison, so to say, and just kind of weed out some of the information that might not line up, or you really don't hear too much about, but compartmentalize it. But I heard somebody please come down to Hudson. But I heard you say that most African Americans are Eurasian. Is that correct?
No, most African Americans have European DNA.
Okay.
So
now, would that be like a large stock of European DNA, or is that just determined on the person and their lineage?
On average, we have about a quarter. It will vary from people to people, but on average, African American, all the samples we have, it looks like about a quarter of us on average goes back to Europeans, which means most of us have a full-blooded European ancestor somewhere down the line. Maybe your great-grandmother or great-grandfather, or maybe your maternal grandmother or paternal great-grand, and so on and so forth. So you have that. Most African Americans have it.
Now, with that being stated, and I'm just, this might sound kind of redundant for you guys, or might even sound like a bad question, even though they said no question is a bad one. But just for people that's listening and for my own understanding, when you say Europe or European, a percentage of European within our DNA, now, does that mean quote unquote white DNA, or does that mean non-white? Because when you look at the writings of others like Benjamin Franklin and others, they state that a lot of these countries and modern Britain, in the book Modern Britain and other sources, they state that a lot of these European areas was mainly populated by melanated people. So would you say that genetic marker is what we would consider quote unquote white, even though I know that's that's a false way of identifying somebody, or would you say it's like non-white?
No, okay. So this is the best way I can put it. Most likely, that 24% DNA is coming from people that would have been white, or what we call white, or light skin, people that look like Europeans, modern Europeans today. Because where we're getting this DNA from, like he's showing on the screen, England, Wales, Northwestern European. This is happening during the colonial period, where you have these Europeans coming over and interacting with African slaves and mixing with them. Some of them were slaves. They were slaves together in the beginning. Like in the early 16th, 17th century, you had white slaves and black slaves working and coexisting with each other. So a lot of that's coming from that mixture. It's not coming from no mythical black Europeans, or a lot of people talk about the Moors. Some of it could come from the Moors, but that's more North African DNA. Mauritanian, Moroccan DNA we'll start seeing there. South European, Spanish specific. But for majority of the DNA that we see in African Americans, it definitely come from people who you would identify as white today.
Okay. So you disagree with those areas being what you would consider melanated people for the most part, like the indigenous populace?
Well, during the time of Benjamin Franklin, hell no, those people were heavily pale. As far as like indigenous people, what do you mean? Like, are you talking thousands of years ago? Everybody would have been darker thousands of years ago. So it depends on what you mean by indigenous.
Also, I was going to add to something.
No, go ahead.
Because I know Benjamin Franklin, I know what you're talking about. I read it too, where he talked about the German being swarthy. And this actually goes back to the whole idea, the concept of whiteness not really being a real thing, because the term white is always shifting. Like at one point, the Irish people weren't considered white because there's a very long history between the Irish and the Anglo-Saxons not liking each other. Even to this day, there's still issues in Ireland with the NRA. If you know about them and their bombings that they did. But anyways, like the term whiteness has just always been shifting. Italians at one point weren't considered white. Who was considered true white were the Anglo-Saxon Protestant Christians. Anybody outside of that wasn't really considered white. Even like Jewish people weren't considered white. And so this all has to do with like a social construct. Genetically speaking, Anglo-Saxons, Germans, Irish people, they're all genetically European. They all descend from the Yamnaya culture, who are Proto-Indo-Europeans from Northern Caucasus area. And so just because Benjamin Franklin in a semi-racist kind of way is saying that Germanic peoples are not white, doesn't mean that he's right, in the sense that, these German peoples that he said are swarthy, it doesn't mean that they're not genetically related. They absolutely are. And Benjamin Franklin's kind of in a sense, keep whiteness only into this Anglo-Saxon box. Because
he wasn't meaning that these people were black as Nigerians. That's not what he meant.
No.
That
I
too.
would assume that in those areas it would be more admixture. Because for example, like my wife, she was what would be considered mulatto. You know, her dad is black, quote unquote black, and her mom is quote unquote white. I know these terms is has no basis for lineage or nationality or anything like that. Which I think hangs a lot of people up when you have these conversations because people are trying to identify and comprehend antiquity with modern terms that doesn't apply to anything that's on a genetic level. It's very, broad stroking of people and mixing and matching people in that context. But I would think that most of those people, when they mention swarthy and things of that nature, are probably what you would consider an admixture or like mixed people.
I, I, I
Not
mean, here's the interesting thing though when it comes to Swarthy and Benjamin Franklin's statement. Like, of course, we can go with what Benjamin Franklin said, but we can go further back in time and look at what the Romans said. The Romans also dealt with Germanic tribes, they dealt with the Celts, they dealt with the Gauls, and according to people like Tacitus, the Germanic tribes were considered white. Some of them were considered white with blue eyes and red hair, or red fiery hair, or blue eyes and like golden blonde hair. So, although Benjamin Franklin, like I said, is living in a time where this whole idea of race is starting to become like a hyper focused on, we can look at older writings dealing with Germanic peoples, and Romans did not say that they were swarthy. Romans said that these people are whiter than us. They're white with blue eyes and red hair.
Right, right. And like I was bringing up earlier with the Moorish things, Southern Europe and stuff like that, Sicilians, a lot of times, when you look at these groups and you look at these people, I can see someone that's pale looking at them and saying, oh, they're swarthy or they're darker than us. We even see it today. A lot of these people are have intermediate skin and they're called dark or they're called darker. So it's not really a shocker that he would say some stuff like that. It's just the way people interpret it. They interpret it as Tyrone was, Egypt was full of Tyrones. Well, that's kind of ironic because the word Tyrone go back to not Egypt, Europe, is Gaelic, which would go back to Europe. So, but anyway, my point is the idea that there was a bunch of. I'm not saying there were no dark skinned people around during that time. Obviously, it was, but it's blown out of proportion, man. The hidden color shit, all that stuff's blown out of proportion. They suitified everything. They did, bro.
Dig it. Yeah, and I was just asking all these questions because I'm kind of just trying to get fast track to just the channel and just the understanding, because when you go on a lot of channels like yours and others that's dumping a lot of information, the videos is hour plus long. So when you start accumulating a lot of videos at that time, you're talking about dedicating a lot of time just trying to really grasp what's going on at this particular point in time. So I just wanted to get like fast tracked on just everything. I understand what y'all doing. I see what y'all doing with the DNA testing and categorizing migration and things of that nature, which, if you remember, I wrote you in a comment a couple of years ago, like, yo, y'all need to put a book together, a PDF with a lot of this information, because a lot of that can get lost in translation. Like I said, when you have to start watching 3-4 hour long videos versus, okay, the bulk of this or the core part of this information, I can go to this book that y'all put together, a PDF, and kind of get a general idea of, the knowledge that y'all garnered from y'all research and things of that nature. You ever think about doing that?
Yeah, we discussed on several occasions on what book that we're gonna write. I was gonna write a book about haplogroup E. This was around 2-3 years ago, and I was discussing with the Yap Gang that I'm really tired of all the damn religious conversations. I'm tired of people trying to tie themselves to ancient people, and I wanted to give a perspective on haplogroup E without that nonsense. So that was the first time that I sat down and I started drafting my outline for that book. But now I'm glad I didn't pull the trigger on it because there's more information available. My understanding has grown since then. So now I need to just do a book on African American understanding of ancestry. If I'm gonna do a book, I'm gonna do a book on that because our understanding of ancestry is fucked up.
Excuse my word. To be revised.
Huh?
No, I'm laughing at what you said, but I said a book can always be revised, you know?
That's true. But it's gonna be focused on these ideas, these strange ideas of ancestry, and I'm gonna try to correct as much as I can with up-to-date information about these ideas. The idea that what you brought up, all of Europe being somehow inundated with black people, and that's not us not denying that black people were not there pre-colonial, right? No one's denying that. But to sit up here and try to do the claim that Tariq Nasheed and all those guys do, that's the popular claim in the community that all the kingdoms were black. And I got a book from Henry Louis Gates Jr. Well, actually, it's a book from a couple in the 70s where they went throughout Europe and they took pictures of all the heraldry and the images of the kings and the nobles. They took pictures of all that. Well, there's a line of a succession of black kings, but all the other kings were white. And what afrocentrics do, they ignore the other pictures and just look at the black kings. It's like, yo, you purposely distort the information. I know we can't blame the people that are ingesting the information. So that's why I always go back to your Ivan Van Sertima's, your Diops and stuff like that. They blowing things out of proportion, and now they got people thinking that, oh, ancient Egypt was a black civilization. Oh, medieval Europe was all blacks. And that's just not true. It's not true at all.
Right.
Oh,
all right, man. Well, I think.
Oh, one more.
No,
you got to be black. We heard that tonight. So there's a lot of stuff that if I do a book, that's what it's going to be.
Listen, I identify with the Israelite moniker because me and you kind of came out of the same school. I remember you stating, I'm not going to mention the name, but we came out of the same school, which is quote unquote identified as probably the large. Huh?
IUIC. I'm not afraid to.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't like to throw names out there because people can misinterpret or misconstrue. But with that being stated, you know, a lot of people understanding is some of it is off of hearsay because, you know, a lot of people don't do research. They don't read. They don't go back and fact check. And then the other part of it is you're dealing with information that is out here or books or literature that's stating one thing. And, you know, there's always a pros and cons to that. So people understanding to some degree it's just off of the information that's established. And it goes back to what you just said about not pulling the trigger on that book. What's known today can change tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So with that being stated, it's like for brothers and sisters like yourselves and others that's, you know, going deep into the research, deep into the knowledge. And I know it's a collective effort, but if you can get that information out there, and that's why I say a book can be revised, because as long as you can get the core information out there, and then if there needs to be a change because there's some update in the information, then by all means do it, because you're never going to have a lack of people that's interested in the scholarly information. They're going to always want to upgrade their info. You know, Amazon, I'm sure, makes hundreds of millions of dollars on selling books a year. Yeah. You know, so that lets you know right there. Huh?
It started off of selling books. That's how I got it started.
Right. So that lets you know right there that people going, you know, the book today can be outdated, but if you say, okay, I got, you know, an abridged or a revised version and blah, 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 they coming back to get that one. So it's never going to be a fall off on that for, you know, true researchers and people that's really searching for knowledge, you know. And I see you put the Lucifer on there. So if you're the light bringer, the illuminated one, you definitely got to start, you got to put that literature out there, because there's a lot of people that ain't going to sit on here or they behind. And so when you have brothers and sisters like yourself that's really astute in what you know and you're throwing the info out, you know, people can get lost in translation because they're behind. So it's like it's going to always kind of be a fight, you know, always battling people, like you said, that you kind of tired of battling. But this is what you're battling against is a mass of people that have either misinformation, no information, or, you know, just don't know. So, but yeah, man, you know, I appreciate y'all letting me on, man. Definitely y'all keep cooking. I'm going to start getting back on the channel and, you know, definitely getting some more information. I'm going to get my DNA test sometime soon. So that way, because you invited me to come on once I got it to go over it. So if I do make it happen, I'll definitely take you up on that offer.
Man, I think it's on sale right now. 23andMe, $50. I think it is.
Yeah, but I keep hearing that's like the bootleg version of getting it done. Wasn't it one you're saying that's like $400? We was talking about.
That's the big why, but you know, you can get the 23andMe right now just to get an idea. You know, $50. Go ahead and get an idea, get a base haplogroup, your autosomes, and then you want
You
help.
get both haplogroups for $50. That you get paternal and maternal for $50. That's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the two though? I mean, if
the big Y is specific, the big Y is specific, and it only dealing with the Y chromosome. It'll tell you your specific clade on your Y chromosome. Like my specific clade go back to Arabian people. I would not have known that by just taking the 23andMe test, but now I know that I go back to Arabian people. So
yeah, so 23andMe told him he was E1B1A, right? It gave him a haplogroup, right? But like, so the big Y, it took a deeper dive in and gave a more specific clade to that haplogroup, and also let him know again like what populations he could trace it back to in terms of like migration and all that kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So in layman's terms, 23andMe told me that I had a great granddaddy named let's say Steve. Big Y told me all of the sons of Steve, all the way up to 1600 CE, all the way to that grandfather. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It took you further back in time, and it
gave me a
wider reach.
Yeah, it gave me a more recent ancestor.
Isn't there a DNA test that actually compares your DNA to like the ancient bones?
Yeah, all of them do that. Big family tree DNA does it. 23andMe, but they charge for it. 23andMe charges, like it's additional add-ons now.
Okay, yeah, because I when I was looking into it about a year or so ago, I know 23andMe wasn't average, like they were doing it like modern population, but there was another DNA test they were stating that actually cross-referenced your genetic markers with the ancient genetic markers within those areas or whatever the case may be. So
yeah.
So hey, one more quick question before I head out, man, because like I said, I'm at work, but I could pick y'all brains all night. What's the difference between E1B1A and E1B1B? Because E1B1A, when it first was coming out, was stated as particularly the chosen people, quote unquote. And I heard you mention E1B1B being that. So what's the difference between the two, if there is?
There's a difference. They're both brothers, and they come from the same ancestor 30, 40,000 years ago, but then they split and become distinct male groups that split off, and they hang together for a while, and then eventually they separate. So the idea is E1B1A went west, and E1B1B kind of lingered in the north and the east. It made its way in the Near East for the most part. So the difference is that they come from the same ancestry, but they split about 40,000 years ago and kind of lingered somewhere, maybe in Arabia, maybe in Northeast Africa. We don't know. We don't have a clear answer yet. We're still waiting. We're actually waiting on a paper on Yemen. Yemen has been rumored to have the oldest E1B1A sample, and then that happens because we're already seeing evidence of these early populations in Arabia. And then E1B1A could have E1B1A and E1B1B could have arose in Arabia. I know it's a little convoluted, but a lot of this stuff is old, so it's a lot of guesswork going on where these people could have been.
Does India have the oldest population markers?
Hell no. The oldest in terms of Y chromosome and L chromosome, I believe the people of what's that group, Ivory, in West Africa, the 800 group.
Oh, the people in Cameroon, the Mbo.
The Mbo people. They have the oldest Y chromosome known.
Dig it.
And I think the South.
Oldest. My bad. Go ahead.
Go ahead, brother.
The oldest DNA is in Africa.
Yeah.
We descend from archaic Africans, Homo heidelbergensis. From them came early anatomically modern humans who were genetically African, A00, mitochondrial L0. Oldest, DNA would have been like a ghost modern DNA. Well, the oldest splits have been ghost modern, and Khoisan, southern and northern Khoisan. Here's actually a chart that kind of shows it.
Okay.
But yeah, oldest DNA is in Africa.
Yeah, and just to answer your question earlier, you asked me was I the one that was asking you questions. If it was from Fire Talk Radio, TV, or anything like that, then yeah, that was me because I don't think nobody else has that name. But I would have to know like the context or the time frame when that happened because it might have been a while ago, right?
No, it was recent. Let me see what was that.
Yeah, I'm usually Fire Talk Radio podcast with Don Yehuda, one or the other.
It may not have been you. It could have been somebody else. But what you asked in the chat tonight was similar to what somebody asked me another night. Let me go through.
I might have been, man. Listen, I don't be afraid to ask no questions. And if I got time, I'm going to jump on to ask questions or insert my little input, because that's the only way you're going to get some understanding on something.
Yeah. No, it's not you. It's somebody else.
All right.
CX.
All right, folks. Well, hey, man, it was a pleasure speaking with y'all, man. Most high willing, I'll be able to jump on again and get some more insight from you brothers. I'll definitely follow the pages. What's your page, brother that was just talking? Egypt is Eurasian.
My YouTube channel is the Hebrew of Israel. I'm making some adjustments to the channel, changing some things up. But right now, it's the Hebrew of Israel.
Okay. Got you. All right, man. Hey, y'all continue cooking, man. I'm gonna tune in, tap in, and definitely, like I said, y'all either see me in the chat or I'll jump on and tap in. So definitely, y'all have a good night.
You too.
Yeah, you
Peace.
too, bro.
Yep. Peace.
Hello.
So somebody in the chat, they asked, what's the big why? So on Family Tree DNA. You have to go to Family Tree DNA to get the big Y. And again, it basically tests for the most mutations and SNPs. So it'll give you a recent ancestor, a recent haplogroup. You'll get more recent data than you would 23andMe. 23andMe only does what, 27? I forget the number.
37. So
37.
So Family Tree gives you the highest STR count that you're going to get from any of the DNA tests out there. Like, so right now, their base test that they're giving you, their family finder, they're matching 23andMe, and they're giving you a 37 STR count on that paternal line test. You don't. The difference is that 23andMe gives you a 37 STR. You get that same count on the maternal and paternal side. You get your mitochondrial DNA and your paternal DNA. Family Tree, you just get your paternal DNA. You have to pay separate for your maternal ancestry and whatnot. But that big Y, you go from 37 on the STR count to 700. So you can only imagine how much deeper you're going with that.
Yeah, so we always encourage people that can do it. I know that's a little steep price wise, but if you can save the money or you got it, I would start with the big Y. You're gonna learn a lot more. They got the people ready to throw all their books away. Now keep them because I keep all my garbage books. I still got Rudolph Windsor's book. I still got Godfrey Higgins and Calypsis Volume 1 and Volume 2. I still got them on my shelf. I like having those books because I can always reference them. I still got Ivan Van Sertima's They Came Before Columbus. I would keep them. And you can always go back and reference them. Well, brother, this is where you get this from. I'm going to show you exactly where you got that from. No, so, but I get what you're saying. We beating up on a lot of them. And we don't make the news. We just report the news. We just giving y'all the up-to-date science and the up-to-date information on this stuff. Because a lot of African Americans are confused about ancestry. You got certain people believing that they aboriginals. You got certain people believing that they Cambodians. And we was talking about that the other night. Rashiki, Renudo Rashiki, how you say his name? Teaching people that these black Africans went over and colonized Cambodia, man.
Rashidi.
Yeah, Runoko Rashidi. Yeah. Yeah, the Anaclesis books are trash. Now, to be fair, Godfrey Higgins was kind of on point as far as saying, but the way he said it was still off, but pointing to that the further you go back in time, people do get darker. So he was completely right on that aspect of it, but everything else is kind of, I don't know. It's kind of, you're starting to get modern myth making.
I don't mean to rush you all, but I was just wondering when we're going to wrap it up tonight. Just
all right, I'm gonna wrap it up right now.
I'm not saying you got to. I'm just wondering when.
I gotta go to bed anyway.
Yeah, we got a hot date. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
Somali.
That's some food I gotta eat.
Yeah. So y'all stay tuned. We waiting on a new Egyptian paper to come out so we can hurt some more feelings on here. So some more. Hurt the Diopis. We're just gonna call them the Diopis and the Diopism. Because I might be debating somebody soon on ancient Egypt and the origin. So it'd be nice to have that extra paper just to beat and wash somebody up real quick, man. So if y'all want to see somebody get rinsed, I will be hopefully debating on Super Wavy's channel soon. I can't promise you when. I don't know yet. Lance ran on me Sunday, so that didn't happen. But we'll see if we can get somebody to debate against that's serious about debating and not full of shit on Super Wavy channel. And I believe I got the right person in mind. And we'll see. We'll go from there, y'all. We out, man.
Yep.
What's your heart beating for? What's your heart beating for? These niggas scared.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
These bitch niggas
Boys and girls.
scared. This Lil B Shizzle, homeboy.
College Park music.
College Park, Chopper City.
And I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and motherfucking tired. All these pussy ass
I
niggas.
see they heart beating. I know what's happening with them. We gonna do it like this, yeah. Come on. What's your heart beating for? You scared. What's your heart beating for?
In the club, showing love. In the trap, ride 22 stubs. In the street, with the beef. With they bitch still talking about me. In the back, in the leg. In the hood, still getting their ass jacked. Getting two-way, in the hood. Talking bad, but it's still all good.
Man, I run with the gangsters, kick it with the G's, hustle with the hustlers. I'm the heart of the streets, grind with the ballers, ball with the grinders. Keep it real with my cliques so my whole team shiners. Ride with the riders, swim with the sharks. If I get caught, I got nothing to say to the law. I'm built to last. Ever since them niggas killed my dad, cracking a pen and pad is all I had. It's get it how you live with me. Busters don't know how to deal with me. It's all real with me. All the street niggas feeling me. All the hot girls love me. They say, boy, put that drill in me. I come through, limo 10 on the truck. I got a whole block spool when I ride slow. Pulling it up, got straight. See them gin in my cup. I ain't gonna do you nothing scary ass nigga. What your heart beating for? What your heart beating for? You scared. What your heart beating for?
In the club, showing love. In the trap, ride 22 stubs. In the street, with the beef. With they bitch still talking about me. In the back, in the leg. In the hood, still getting their ass jacked. Getting two-way, in the hood. Talking bad, but it's still all good.
I'm in the club, posted up, way in the back. Got a bottle of gin and I snuck in with the Mac. I'm a fresh bows on, Reeds on my feet. Hoes love when I'm thugging in my fresh white tee. I'm about whatever, Jizzle was a G. We could do it however, it don't matter to me. We could do it right here, we could take it outside. I'm young, but believe I've been about mine. I ride when it's time to ride. I grind when it's time to grind. Swing iron when it's time to bust. Swing dick when it's time to fuck. I'm a chopper city nigga, don't try your luck. You won't beef, I ain't scared nigga, I'm everywhere. You don't be where you say you be, you're never there. You acting like you bowed it, bitch nigga, you scared. I see your heart beating, so bust the break. What your heart beating for? You scared. What your heart beating for?
In the club, showing love. In the trap, ride 22 stubs. In the street, with the beef. With they bitch still talking about me. In the back, in the lag. In the hood, still getting their ass jacked. Getting two-way, in the hood. Talking bad, but it's still niggas caught in the zone. Better watch it when I'm cocking my crown. Cause I'm clumsy, I slip one and get down. You better leave me alone. I ain't no bitch that don't talk shit on the phone. I got something that just might follow you home. Now ain't I dead ass wrong? How could you react if your brains are blown? I guess that fat bitch is singing her song. That bitch is singing her song. You fucking wide, little boys ain't grown. Your mouth is heavy, but your back ain't strong. Once again, it's on. You must be smoking on that cheech and chong. That you can handle me with something that's wrong. Something that's wrong. Let's write it in blood or carve it in stone. Otherwise, you don't want no problems with home. No problem with home. You can't get rid of me, not even penitentiary. A friend of me, you need to be. I'm holiday, community. Without a man, stack a nigga for his cash. Hot lead, make a motherfucker heart beat fast.
What your heart beating for?